This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A shower or two today and a top of 14 with the 6 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
A massive outage hit parts of the internet last night, taking down major websites like Spotify, Netflix, Amazon, the New York Times and the BBC. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports from the US.
The problem was with Fastly, a cloud service provider based in San Francisco that supplies content delivery and website security. The outage resulted in hundreds of major news and company websites down, including Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Zoom, in more than a dozen countries. There were initial concerns that the company was hacked, given the recent rise in cyber attacks on infrastructure. However, Fastly, quick to issue a statement saying they had identified the problem. It's now fixed and most of the affected websites are back online.
The voluntary assisted dying bill will return to the state's lower house today for a final vote. If passed, the proposed laws will come into force in SA within 18 to 24 months. The legislation is based on Victorian law. Monash University Professor Paul Komesarov says it's been a success.
The legislation in Victoria appears to have been working fairly well. It's very, very similar to the South Australian legislation that includes multiple safeguards to ensure that vulnerable people are not put at risk.
Melbourne's fourth lockdown is expected to lift as planned at midnight tomorrow, but there'll still be several restrictions in place. Nine's Christina Hearn reports.
State government ministers met with health officials last night with the details to be announced later today. According to several reports, there'll be a 25-kilometre restriction put in place to prevent Melburnians fleeing to the regions for the long weekend. Cafes and restaurants will have a 50-person limit. Schools will reopen for all grades, but gyms will remain closed. Masks will still be mandatory indoors. There'll be no visitors allowed in your home and public gatherings capped at 10 people. Essentially, it will be what occurred in regional Victoria last week as they came out of lockdown. Those restrictions will ease even further tomorrow at midnight.
Australians who've been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 can access a digital certificate to prove it. The certificates are being issued through Medicare accounts and can be saved to a mobile phone. Hard copies are also expected to be available. The Prime Minister will deliver a key speech about Australia's role in the region and the world today, ahead of his second overseas trip for the year. Nine's Michael Packey has the details.
The COVID recovery, dealing with future pandemics and security issues will dominate the agenda at the G7 summit later this week. Australia has been invited to the gathering of the world's top 7 economies, which is taking place in the UK. Ahead of his departure, Scott Morrison will deliver a major speech in Perth. He'll push for reform of the World Trade Organisation, making sure its rulings are actually enforced. Mr Morrison will strongly endorse America's move to identify the origins of COVID. The PM is also expected to say democracies must work better together and play a greater role in helping countries that need assistance.
Now to FIVEaa Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
And it's good morning to Tom Wren.
And a very good morning to you as well, Mel. Let's start with football, and Port Adelaide and Geelong's players will be named in their teams later tonight ahead of tomorrow night's blockbuster at Adelaide Oval. The match is going ahead after SA Health granted the Cats permission to fly out of the state straight after the game. The Crows and St Kilda teams will be announced tomorrow night. There is some doubt on the fitness of former captain Taylor Walker. Head of football Adam Kelly telling the club's website he's nursing a sore knee.
Taylor Walker landed awkwardly in the first quarter on the weekend, subsequently reported some pain below his knee on his right leg, on the outside of that leg. We're going to send him for scans as a precautionary measure.
Well, meantime, North Melbourne has re-signed one of its most promising young players, Ben Mackay, until 2023, and Sydney Swans co-captain Josh Kennedy has signed a one-year extension with the club. Let's go to tennis, and Stefanos Tsitsipas has taken command of his quarter-final clash against number 2 seed Daniil Medvedev at the French Open. He now leads 2-0 after taking the second just moments ago in a tiebreaker. Earlier, Alexander Zverev won in straight sets to progress to the Final Four at Roland Garros for the first time. And New South Wales and Queensland will battle it out in the first Origin match of 2021 later tonight, the match to be played in Townsville. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
A shower or two for your Wednesday and a top of 14. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Friday, partly cloudy, also 17. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cash back on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
6 after 6, good morning to you. Welcome to Wednesday. Chilly start to the day at 5:30. So just over half an hour ago was 4 degrees officially. The apparent temperature was -2. Right now it's 7.4, feels like. That's apparent temperature, 4.6 degrees outside. We'll catch up with the Bureau about 40 minutes' time for the latest weather-wise. Vincent McAviney on the UK. We'll flash back with Michael Smith. Sean Fuster on the program. We'll go around the courts. Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club and the Lord Mayor of Adelaide, all on the show this morning. David Penberthy, good morning to you.
Good morning, Will. Good morning, listeners. I actually felt at my coldest yesterday afternoon at about 5 p.m. Kate and I were sitting at the back. I just fed the dogs and we were sitting on our Waller's barrel table, if you're up, James. Well, you love that thing. And I just looked at Kate and I said, "My God, it's like Antarctica out here." And it was 8, I think, but the feels like temperature was 4.
Well, I think yesterday felt like we always associate it when we go to Melbourne as South Australians. You go to Melbourne and it feels that the temperature will say it's 6, but you swear it's colder.
Ugh, because walking along that dreary river of theirs.
You get that Arctic breeze. It always feels like the wind carries this icy bite, and that's what it felt like in Adelaide yesterday.
Yeah, no.
We don't get those days too often.
I had an excellent time yesterday. I went to the Goodie Park with an old mate of mine, had a wonderful counter meal. Thanks to Matt, if he's listening. Just promo central here this morning.
Crikey, got a lot of thanks to give out for the stuff you've got recently, haven't you?
I've bought the barrel table off James years ago. No, that was for a job we did.
That's right. No, that was services rendered.
But yeah, a good mate of mine, Matt. We had a countery at the Goodie Park, a couple of cleanses afterwards, and he's from Sydney, and we were saying, the one thing we both truly miss about Sydney is winter in Sydney, because it's basically like 20 every day. And it doesn't rain. It's weird.
Really?
It hardly ever rains in winter in Sydney. You get more rain in summer.
Yeah, okay.
It's
all funny you say
it's
that.
The backdraft of all the Queensland storms that make their way down.
My memories are always thunderstorms and rain, going to Sydney when we were a kid to visit family, but that would have been always in summer.
Yeah.
I'm not sure I've really spent much time there in winter.
No, I reckon it rains more in January than it does in July.
Yeah, that's funny, because my perception of Sydney is always a bit like subtropical, humidity and thunderstorms.
I used to go out kayaking all the time in winter on Lane Cove River, just down the road. I had this like cheap and cheerful kayak that I got from like one of the outdoor stores. Oh, did another plug there.
Thanks.
It's becoming a habit.
Crikey, David.
But yeah, it is what it is. It's nice having the 4 seasons though that we get in Adelaide.
Yeah, well, I don't know. You look at it and see right now in Darwin it's 21.5. I'm sure they're not missing the idea of it having an apparent temperature of -2 at 5:30 in the morning.
You're going there soon, aren't you?
Couple 2 weeks.
Darwin, how good's Darwin?
Looking forward to that.
You feel more like
Just
you're
a
in
4
Asia
hour
than in Australia, I reckon.
Yeah, absolutely.
Now, someone's got to make a movie about this.
I can't wait to talk about this.
This is astonishing.
Operation Ironside.
Seriously, this makes... You can combine all of the underbellies, and they wouldn't be as interesting as this. In fact, Underbelly, what a debased franchise that was. The first one, the Carl Williams one, was good. Very quickly flogging a dead horse after that.
Yeah, I didn't watch any of the other ones.
This would be good television.
Yesterday, the way it was presented, the only part of me that thought it was a shame was that there was this giant dump of information all in the wraparound in the tyres, and I thought it's a lot to digest, and maybe it'll get lost as a one-day story. But what we got today was all the detail on the local stuff.
Oh, today's coverage is 10 times better than yesterday's.
It is.
Because today's is the Adelaide account of everything.
Yeah. And don't think we were underrepresented in this.
Oh, no. No. And I'll tell you what, there'll be a lot of people. You go through that list. Adelaide being Adelaide, so we haven't actually got time to read out the names of all of the South Australians who have been arrested. But in Adelaide's not 6 degrees of separation. It's normally 3 degrees of separation. Heaps of our listeners will probably know at least one person on this list.
Well, so 39 people arrested and charged by SAPOL. Another 8 were arrested by the Australian Federal Police. One of those is claimed as a well-known northern suburbs businessman, and 80 properties were raided.
It's huge.
I'm guessing people will have witnessed some of this unfolding yesterday.
Oh, yeah.
In the last 48 hours. We've probably got people listening right now that know something. There was a property raided near them. If that was you, let us know. I mean, nothing this big, I don't think, has ever happened before. This is around the world, but primarily in Australia, where we've had nearly 1,000 people arrested.
We should keep it powder dry on it a bit because we're going to do a big segment on it later.
Well, we'll get into the detail because the detail is what makes today interesting about what they foiled here in Adelaide and the people involved. So we'll talk a bit more about that after 7 o'clock today.
I mentioned Underbelly. What it reminds me of a lot is Narcos, because the manner, the methods, like the idea of a drive-by slaying on a motorbike is straight out of the Medellin cartel playbook.
Yeah.
Or the Tijuana cartel or the Sinaloa cartel, where sicarios, the hitmen as they're called, go around on motorbikes, just offing people in broad daylight with machine guns. And this was the exact thing that they were going to do on the Norwood Parade at a well-known coffee shop, whichever one that might be. I'm going to think of one straight away. I'm going to think of several.
There are a few. But Norwood's a pretty good place for well-known coffee shops.
But as Steve Taylor, our head copper who's now in charge of the organised crime branch, who seems like a really good bloke. I've interviewed him about drugs earlier this year when I did that thing about Murray Bridge, and he's a good no-nonsense copper. What about the photo of him posing with that machine gun?
Oh, my word.
Like
that could have gone really...
he said, in the hands of an untrained gunman, like, mercifully in this country, most people don't really know what they're doing with machine guns because they're not readily available.
Yeah. Firing a fully automatic weapon at a cafe...
Yeah, on one of Adelaide's premier shopping strips where most people go there to potter around at wheel and barrow and, maybe pick up some nice outfits at, Sportscraft. Meanwhile, there's a little slice of sort of Latin American drug culture landing right here on our shores.
Extraordinary story. More on it after 7 today. 13 after 6. Our number is 8223 0000. Tell us what's happening in Adelaide, folks, or you can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line 044808 1395. News headlines right after this.
Nothing beats that new car experience, and you'll still be feeling it long after you drive away in a new Kluger 7-seat hybrid SUV from Jarvis Toyota. With all-wheel drive, hybrid power and intelligent safety technology, the Kluger is where freedom meets family. The buzz around the new Kluger is huge, and you can experience it for yourself with a test drive at Jarvis Toyota Clovelly Park today. Rediscover the road in the all-new Toyota Kluger Hybrid at Jarvis Toyota South Road, Clovelly Park. Proudly celebrating 20 years of great deals.
So you've got a will. That's good. But do you know where it is? Or when it was updated last? Have your circumstances changed? An old or poorly thought out will can leave problems for your family and those you love. And it can be expensive to sort out. Don't let that be your legacy. From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, you can trust Donlan Lawyers to help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com.
Good leaders always look to support local, and they stay local. Like Leader Computers, Australia's largest Australian-owned PC manufacturer, based right here in South Australia. Having a world-class manufacturer of computers is a big win for our state, providing jobs and local support you simply can't get from overseas companies. Looking for the latest Intel and Microsoft-based computers at great pricing with the huge benefit of local support? Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller.
It's end of financial year already, and we're celebrating at You Install It Kitchens by giving you a massive 20% off everything. You Install It Kitchens offer quality South Australian-made do-it-yourself kitchens at a price that fits your budget, especially this month. Take advantage of our 20% off sale. It's for a limited time only, so head into one of our showrooms today, Modbury, Churchill, Glandore, Norwood and Lonsdale, or visit our Design Hub and 3D Kitchen Planner online. You Install It Kitchens, the complete DIY kitchen solution. Conditions apply.
At the Australian Building Company, we love building things. Homes, trust, relationships. And now you can move into your dream home even sooner because we make all the paperwork and the decisions easy as. Plus, there's no unexpected surprises with our fixed price contract delivered in just 7 days. You'll love building with us as much as we'll love building with you. Visit australianbuildingcompany.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
16 after 6. Time for the news headlines on this Wednesday morning. This was odd. French President Emmanuel Macron has been slapped in the face.
Well, not by someone holding a leather glove. He hasn't been challenged to a duel, has he?
No, there was no. They didn't drop the glove.
He hasn't been hit with a rolled-up copy of Wine State magazine, has he?
No, it wasn't that either.
You know what that's normally an indicator of?
Well, this can only mean one thing. No, it wasn't that. It was just the old-fashioned slap. He was visiting a small town in southern France. 2 people have been arrested. He denounced the incident as an insult to democracy. And it sort of was. He was doing the thing that we in democratic countries like our leaders to do, where he was at an event and he walked up to the crowd. And they were sort of just cordoned off behind a fence. And he walked up and was talking to them.
Well, we should make light of it then.
And someone reached over and slapped him in the face. It was exactly the kind of thing we kind of think we're above.
Yeah.
As a sort of Western democracy. It was pretty ordinary.
Yeah, absolutely.
He was okay, though. He sort of, I think he looked shocked more than anything.
Was it a man or a woman who slapped him?
It was a man.
Bit poncy, isn't it?
Yeah, I thought it was a woman watching it was someone with long hair, but the reports say it was a man.
Mangy hippie.
The FBI says, along with the Australian Federal Police, officers have turned the tables on criminals in the sting of the century. We started the show talking about this. Across 16 countries, more than 800 people have been arrested, 8 tonnes of cocaine seized, and more than $48 million recovered.
8 tonnes of cocaine?
8 tonnes.
What does that even look like? Well, actually, I know what it looks like, because I can put 1 tonne of dirt in the back of my Hilux.
Well, it's 8 Hiluxes full.
Unbelievable.
Here's FBI Criminal Investigative Division Assistant Director Calvin Shivers.
The FBI provided criminal organizations encrypted devices that allowed us to monitor their communications.
Calvin Shivers.
Calvin Shivers.
He certainly does if he's in Adelaide at the moment.
The Prime Minister will deliver a key speech about Australia's role in the region and the world ahead of his second overseas trip for the year. In the speech, he's expected to push for reform of the World Trade Organization, make sure its rulings are enforced. He'll strongly endorse America's move to identify the origins of COVID-19 and will say democracies must work better together and play a greater role in helping countries that need assistance.
I normally don't get excited by these World Economic Forums, but the G7, it looks like, and I was heartened by the Kiwis coming out the other day and saying, look, for all our occasional differences, we are brothers and sisters, Australia and New Zealand.
Geez, the language Morrison's reported to be using at the G7 is very strong.
About China?
About China.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Exceptionally strong.
Yeah, it's pretty gung-ho, isn't it?
But
China, I think, did you see Xi the other day? It's such a hilarious turn of commie phrase where he said, we need to make China more lovable. Did you see that speech that he gave talking to the party faithful, saying, we need to recalibrate our relationship, and obviously we need to stand for the things that make China great, but we need to try to make our country appear more lovable. And it's like, well, how's the old charm offensive going, Beijing?
Yeah, well, that would be an about face, because it's not something they've endeavoured to undertake so far. But Morrison's talking about enforcing maritime rules and participating in these sail buys that the US occasionally do, to say, you might think you've invented an island here that gives you claim on waters, but we don't recognise it. So we're sailing our task force through here. And Morris is saying not only is Australia going to start doing that, other countries need to start doing it. And he also talked about, or is going to talk about, a point system like they used during the Cold War for indiscretions, that they tried to create some rules around missteps and stuff-ups that meant that you didn't just jump at, oh, well, someone's done something wrong, so, fire the nuclear weapons. This means that there's a point penalty. It's a lot of Cold War style language that we don't...
Now, here's a question, without wanting to sound like a Neville Chamberlain appeaser. Is it wise for a sort of, pretty piddling country like ours to be at the absolute vanguard of giving China the what?
I mean, when I read this is why I bring this up this morning, because they're not quivering at our potentially we might have 7 submarines one day.
Oh, no. No, I mean, you know, given our current most decorated war heroes in the midst of the defamation trial of the century, I mean, the ADF, God bless them, how do you reckon they're going to go against the People's Liberation Army?
Apparently there are 300 submarines that operate in our region of the world, and we're going to one day have 7.
Well,
remember we spent all
the argument about whether they're a waste of money or not ever ends, you mean?
That's right.
We can have 12 by 2055 or something, aren't we?
Yeah, that's right. 2055.
Yeah, well, suck on that, China.
Which is by 2050, China wants to have naval parity with the United States.
Yeah.
So, look.
I don't know. I think there is actually a real risk that ScoMo is a bit too belligerent on it.
Well, I found it confronting how strong the language was.
Yeah.
The voluntary assisted dying legislation will go before the lower house today for a final vote. It's South Australia's 17th attempt in 25 years to pass euthanasia laws.
It's going through, isn't it?
It is, yep. I can't see how it won't. Certainly the way it was carried the first time. Prince Charles has described the birth of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's daughter as happy news. Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor's birth in California was announced on Monday. The Prince of Wales referenced the arrival while speaking at a production plant for cars.
Development of technology like electric vehicles is vital for maintaining the health of our world for future generations. Something I'm only too aware of today, having recently become a grandfather for the 5th time.
There he goes.
Electric cars.
He weaved it in.
Electric cars to that.
You
know what that news item showed to me? And calling it a news item, using the term loosely, no news angle is too small when it comes to the royal family to justify its use by the media.
Absolutely.
Grandfather says happy about birth of grandchild.
At electric car plant.
Yeah, there you go. Hold the front page.
All right, let's get to some text on the Telstra Store Mount Barker text line. Mark in Parry Hills has made a typo in his text, unfortunately. He says, try walking your dog at Paddocks Oval at 4:30am. Very cold and foggy, the old pea super. So I think he's just made an error, because I think he's smarter than that, Mark. Another one says...
turn of phrase, man.
Yeah, I don't know. I think he's got very cold this morning. We'll just put it down to that. Brad in One Tree Hill says it was cold. Yes, that was colder than your mother-in-law's kiss. Thank you, Brad.
A turn of phrase.
I'll take your word for it. Andy says if it's such a good system of catching criminals, why on earth have they exposed it through the open media so it can no longer be used effectively to fight criminal behaviour? I think once they rounded up 800 people that were all using the same secret phone device, I think its usefulness may have quickly ended.
And it probably got to the point where, given the gravity of what they were up to as well, you couldn't just keep monitoring these people indefinitely.
Exactly right.
You had to just go in and start rounding them up.
Yep, that's right.
What about Guy in Highgate, or Guy from Highgate, rather? Luckily, he's from Highgate. He's not in Highgate. Morning, lads. I'm listening to you from Port Douglas. 28 degrees on rotation up here. I love Adelaide, but in winter it's Cairns and Port Douglas. It's paradise.
Oh, half your luck. Good on you,
I'll tell you what, every time I go up there, there's quite a few Adelaide people living up that way. Go up there. What's the old John Williamson play, Travelling North? A lot of people go there when they get older and think, it's pretty good. Nick Minchin lives up there, the former South Australian Liberal Senator.
Well, you would if you could. At least spend winter there, that's for sure.
Winter.
I'm happy to spend summer in Adelaide.
Oh, yeah. I'm happy to spend...
you, to be honest.
3 months, 3 seasons a year, but if you could just sneak off for July, August to Port Douglas, that'd be pretty handy, wouldn't it?
Top of 14 today. It says shower or two, but only not even half a mil of rain forecast. Thursday will be 17, Friday 17, Saturday 17, Sunday 17. No rain, real rains on any of these days, except perhaps maybe a little bit Sunday, before it returns on Monday and Tuesday next week, 18 and 19. It's feeling a lot like winter.
When people walk through the doors at Pals, the first thing they say is wow. Not only because of the size and the selection, but also because of the team. Sam and Jamie have tasted every drop. They and their team can recommend a whiskey that's just as good as that hard-to-find Japanese one, if they don't have it, that is. Or a beautiful red that's reminiscent of that outstanding cellar door you once travelled so far to visit. Parafield Airport Liquor Store. Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. I'm no fortune teller, but if you don't have solar on your roof, I can tell you your next power bill is going to be huge. There's a price for keeping warm all winter, and you're about to pay it. Stop paying huge bills. Get in touch with NRG Solar, and from just $59 a fortnight, you could have a quality NRG solar system on your roof. From just $59 a fortnight, you could wipe out your power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
Now, you might think it's hard to get excited about shelving. Well, you'll be a first-time listener if you do, because we love talking about Charmin shelving.
I could talk all day about Charmin shelving.
Often you have.
Yeah, I know. Often after the show, I just start telling Will shelving-related anecdotes. He loves it. As we approach June 30, now is the perfect time to get in touch with Charmin Shelving and get your workshop fitted out.
Absolutely. From workbenches, shelving cabinets, tool trolleys, open-angle shelving, stainless steel benches, steel cupboards, even van and cool room shelving. This is like that scene in Forrest Gump when he talks about all the different forms of... what's it, Rennie? Where when he's doing the different...
Shrimping.
Shrimp cocktail... Charmin shelving can literally do anything, including made to measure.
And look, indoor, outdoor. I've got my garden bench. I just plonked it outside. It's slightly undercover, but like this is high grade steel. It's never going to rust. It's fantastic. It looks as new as it was when I got it more than a year ago. Jump onto the website, take a look, visit the Facebook page. You'll be blown away with what the team at Charmin Shelving can make. Do it before June 30 and take advantage of the instant asset write-off.
So if you're in business, Charmin Shelving could be your first go-to for a workshop fit-out. Ask Christine or Bill for a free measure and quote. Jump online at charminshelving.com.au or call into 412 North East Road, Windsor Gardens.
At Allianz, we're behind your small business. Choose public liability insurance cover with a new Allianz Business Insurance Pack before July 22nd, 2021, and you will receive a $100 e-gift card. Just call us or search Allianz Public Liability and use the promo code GIFT. Allianz, behind you for what's ahead. Public liability cover is also available in trades and services or office packs via our contact centre only. Any advice is general only. Eligibility criteria and minimum premiums apply. Go online or call for a PDS to see if Allianz is right for you.
Major road resurfacing works on the South Eastern Freeway between the toll gate and Hyson tunnels will be underway until mid-2021. Motorists should expect delays, so allow extra travel time. Visit dit.sa.gov.au/SE Freeway. A message from the Government of South Australia.
We love to see you CMI Lane.
With the end of financial year fast approaching, now is the time to visit CMI Toyota, SA's #1 selling Toyota dealer. What are you waiting for? CMI Toyota has incredible deals on a range of new and pre-owned vehicles. So hurry in and secure your new Toyota now. Visit CMI Toyota today at West Terra City, Cheltenham or Christie's Beach. We love to see you CMI Lane. Oh, what a feeling, Toyota.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
28 after 6, let's talk sport. 3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company in your supermarket now. Morning to you, Rennie.
Morning, Will. Morning, David. A couple of massive sporting events on tonight. I know you're not a huge fan, Will. Pembo, I know you'll be watching New South Wales and Queensland, Game 1 in Townsville, regional.
That's right. I must admit, I've sort of dropped off the ball a bit with State of Origin last year. It got to be interrupted due to lockdown and... Then the game was on here. Did you go to that game?
I did, yeah.
Yeah, I didn't go.
It was a huge surprise.
Some family clash.
And Queensland were no chance, as usual, to win, and they found a way to win that series 2-1. I've predicted New South Wales will win this one 3-0, so watch Queensland take it out 3-0.
Yeah. It's pretty hard to pick.
They're an amazing...
Well, it wasn't when, you had Cam Smith and everyone playing for the Maroons.
Dominant.
Just for a decade, Queensland were unbeatable, but it's back on a more level.
Should be pretty
now.
even. Yeah, much more even. But the other big sporting event tonight is Rafael Nadal. Now, he's playing against Diego Schwartzman in a quarterfinal. Just had a look at his record, Will, at the French Open. He's 104-2. Has there ever been a more dominant person?
Well, he's only lost 2 games.
2 matches in the journey. He's won 13 French Open titles, going for a 14th. If he wins as well, boys, he will have won more Grand Slams than Roger Federer, and Federer won't catch him now, I don't think. Does that make him a better player, given that 14 of his 21 will have been at the one Grand Slam, in your opinion?
Yeah, I think Federer's record is better because of that. I think versatility matters. That said, what Nadal's achieved at Roland Garros is the greatest streak of domination you'll find anywhere in sport.
Mm-hmm.
I can't think of...
Have you ever played tennis on clay?
I have. Actually, a mate of mine's got a clay court here.
It's really good, isn't
it?
It's a lot slower.
It is, yeah.
But does that suggest he hasn't mastered the game as much as Federer. Because doing it on grass is harder, I reckon.
Yeah, it's quicker, but I mean, I guess the flip side of that is Federer's only won one French Open title, so does that make him not as versatile? So, you know.
What's the clay thing? Are the clay courts more common in Spain?
Yeah, they would absolutely be. And the other thing too...
Those very good terracotta pots, if ever you're making a paella.
All part of the same thing.
That's right.
Well, the other thing too, boys, is as many as those two will win, I think Djokovic will catch them both.
Yeah, this is a great shame because no one likes Novak.
That bloke, what a jerk. He's the Pete Evans of sport.
So, well, you were about to ask Rennie about dominance.
Yeah, who's? I can only think the Harlem Globetrotters.
Yeah, that's right, against the Washington Generals.
They would do.
Krusty the Clown. Rocky Marciano never lost a fight. I mean, Floyd Mayweather these days would lay claim to that, but I'd suggest boxing these days is designed so you don't have to actually fight anyone good most of the time, although he did early on, certainly. Yeah, that record is stunning. Good luck. Perhaps our listeners can help us out and think of anything in that stratosphere of domination. 104-2, you said.
104-2.
That's just extraordinary.
Sturt lost 2 games in 1978. One was against West in round 7, and the other one was the grand final.
Oh,
yeah.
But I've really got over that.
Geelong in 2008 were the same. They lost 2 games. The second was the grand final.
Yeah, that's right.
Carlton lost 2 games in 95, but they won the grand final.
Essendon lost 1 in 2000.
Yeah, that was the best side I've seen.
Did you hear our chat to Phil Curry yesterday? He just said like he wanted to just go into therapy about being a Carlton supporter. Imagine being a Carlton supporter.
There's a bit going on.
Oh, they necked one of their assistant coaches yesterday.
Yeah, Johnny Barker.
If you walk before the internal review, that's not a good sign.
That's right, exactly. The internal review.
Review, when's that? Yeah, I'll be just done.
It's like in a workplace when they say the Boston Consulting Group's coming in to have a look at everyone's productivity, and you go, yeah, I might make myself scarce for that.
Good on you, Rennie.
Thanks, boys.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? FIVEaa Milk Company, South Australian and proud of it.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 14 today with the 6:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
SA's 17th attempt to legalise euthanasia will go before the lower house today for a final vote. The bill would allow terminally ill people to access drugs, allowing them to end their lives. The legislation includes 70 safeguards and is modelled on Victorian law. The fallout from international crime sting Operation Ironside continues, with more than 800 people arrested across a dozen countries, including 73 in South Australia. The joint operation between the Australian Federal Police and the Federal Bureau of Investigation has recovered more than $48 million and tons of drugs. The FBI's Calvin Shivers has spoken about their involvement.
The FBI provided criminal organizations encrypted devices that allowed us to monitor their communications.
An outage crashed news, commerce and social media websites around the world last night. The issue was linked to American computing services provider Fastly, which reported a problem with its contact delivery networks. A fix has now been applied. The Prime Minister is pushing for reform of the world's key trade body as Australia considers taking further action against China. Nine's Michael Packey has the details.
Renovating the World Trade Organisation will form a key theme of a speech to be delivered by Scott Morrison in Perth today. The PM says the body must be able to have the power not only to consider disputes, but actually enforce its rulings. Australia is currently taking China to the WTO after imposing unfair tariffs on barley imports and is considering doing the same over wine. Mr Morrison's foreign policy speech comes ahead of his trip to the UK, where Australia will take part in a meeting with the world's top 7 economies. COVID will dominate the talks, including recovery from the pandemic, finding out more about its origins and dealing with future outbreaks.
The French president has been slapped in the face by a protester. It happened while Emmanuel Macron was taking part in a walkabout in southern France. 2 men have been detained by police. A British police officer has admitted to the kidnapping and rape of 33-year-old Sarah Everard, who went missing while walking in South London. Nine's Ben Avery reports.
Appearing in London Central Criminal Court via video link, Police Constable Wayne Cousins pleaded guilty to the charges of kidnap and rape of Sarah Everard in March of this year. The crime had sparked anger and protests around the world. The victim, a marketing executive, disappearing while walking home in the London suburb of Clapham, her body found a week later in Woodland in Kent. The court heard Cousins also accepted responsibility for her death, but he is yet to enter a plea to murder. The next plea hearing will take place on July 9.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Fluorio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide is set to reveal its replacement for Orazio Fantasia when the teams are announced tonight for tomorrow night's match against Geelong. Fantasia is set to miss at least a couple of games with a knee injury. Still on footy, and the pressure continues to rise at Carlton with coach David Teague under pressure as the club embarks on an external review. Veteran Eddie Betts has told Fox Footy it's unfair to blame him for the club's woes.
I think that's unfair. We as players got to take some responsibility as well because we're out there playing footy, and we wouldn't be in this position if we won those games that were close. We showed that we can play some great brand of footy. And then we showed that we can play some awful footy as well. So some onus needs to be on us players as well.
To tennis, and at the French Open, world number 85 Tamara Zidanšek from Slovenia has progressed to the women's semi-finals with a win over Paula Badoza. Zidanšek says it hasn't quite sunk in yet.
Feels overwhelming. It's hard to take it in like this fast, but I'm just trying to focus on my game, on myself.
Stefanos Tsitsipas has taken the first 2 sets against Daniil Medvedev in their quarter-final clash, the winner to take on Alexander Zverev in the final 4. Well, the makeup of the NBL Finals has come down to the last match of the regular season. Southeast Melbourne's loss to the Brisbane Bullets means the Phoenix will finish 4th below the Illawarra Hawks. Meantime, the Brooklyn Nets have taken a stranglehold of their best-of-7 series against Milwaukee after smashing the Bucks by 39 points, while Phoenix took care of Denver by 17 points in Game 1 of their series. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
Heading for a top of 14 on your Wednesday, a shower or 2. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Friday, partly cloudy, also 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
Twenty-two to 7 after 7 o'clock this morning. More on the local elements of Operation Ironside. Some of this stuff, as we've been saying for the last 24 hours, looks like something straight out of a crime thriller. It's not, and it could well. Some of it played out here in South Australia, most dramatically on the Nord Parade. Now, I tell you what, the question Tom Wren asked just before the break was right up my father's alley. He's gone absolutely to town on the absolute most dominant sporting performances in history, all right? You ready for these two? And I reckon these will take some beating. Heather Mackay in squash. Only lost 2 matches in her entire career. They were in 1960 and 62. Was unbeaten for 19 years, 1962 to 1981, won 16 consecutive British Open titles.
Wow, so she's English?
No.
Heather Mackay. I've never even heard of her. Heather Mackay.
No, I'm not across my squash.
I'll Google it. You read the second one from your old
Walter Lindrum. This one which I should have thought of, where they changed the rules to stop him winning. He won... His world record break of 4,137 was made in January 1932, where he was at the table for 2 hours and 55 minutes, 1,900 consecutive scoring shots.
1,900?
Yeah.
Apologies to Aussie Heather Mackay.
Yeah, I thought so.
She was born in Queanbeyan.
Yep.
Queanbeyan, there's a town that's punched above its weight. David Campese's from Queanbeyan as well.
John's on the open line's got one. Morning, John.
Morning, how are you?
Good, thanks, John.
Walter Lindrum was a snooker player in the 40s, I think, and 50s in Australia.
You must have been on hold, John, because Will just said that his dad texted him the second one he had was Walter Lindrum. So you're dead right.
So what? They changed the rules for snooker.
Yep.
Yeah, I was on hold. Didn't miss that. Sorry.
Sorry,
mate.
we cut you off, John.
Bad.
Sorry about that,
bad.
mate. No,
You're
but you're right. They're 2 good ones. But, Rafa, it's rare air, for sure.
Hey, the Victorian lockdown's ending on Friday, kind of. But you're not allowed to travel more than 25 kilometres. So for the long weekend, it means that no one in Victoria is allowed to go to the regions, go and visit anyone. But
kids can return to school as early as Friday morning. Masks compulsory indoors. Density limits for office workers. Restaurants and cafes will be limited to 50 people. Gyms will remain closed. But good to know some things might change. Geez, the Herald Sun gets well briefed from the Victorian government too, don't they?
Yeah.
We know what the lockdown changes are going to be on Friday.
Yeah, I know. I'm surprised that they've telegraphed it so far in advance. I thought they've been so skittish.
Yeah, it's bizarre. Change your tactic.
So we're just going to wait because they release the latest figures every 12 hours.
Bit of South Australian regional news about this morning. The Truro bypass has turned out to be a particularly controversial infrastructure measure in the township of Truro. In fact, according to the Tiser, it's ripping the town in half. After years in discussion, the project got $161.6 million from the federal government this May. The idea it'll be finished by 2026. They haven't worked out what the route's going to be yet, just that Truro will be bypassed. Well, there are people in town, like the antique shop's owner, Dwayne Berth, who said that there will be collateral damage, and it's going to be the businesses. He says it's
totally.
And he said that the people complaining about it, it's like moving to the airport and complaining about the noise. 90% of my customers are travellers heading between the Riverland or Adelaide, so this bypass will mean I'll lose my business. There are others there too, people like the local motel manager, the petrol station, the antique store as well, who we just mentioned, all feel like, well, this is going to be the death of them.
Well, and they're dead right. There was a really interesting article about 2 months ago in the Weekend Australian where a reporter, this was in the magazine, the Saturday magazine, where a reporter followed the path of the old Pacific Highway, not the new, much safer one. Because for years, your mum would know this as a Sydney woman, in the 1960s, there were so many fatalities from people driving from Sydney up to, like, Kempsey or Coffs Harbour or Woolgoolga, Port Macquarie, all of these places, because it was a single lane road the entire way. It was a total death trap. You couldn't overtake. It wasn't dual carriageway anywhere for a long time. Busiest stretch of coastal road in Australia. People were just getting smashed all the time. It was terrible. So they totally redid it. It was the biggest road project in Australia. Basically all the way from, Bega, Badalla, Bermagui, right up to the very top, up to Byron Bay. The entire way, it's a quality road now. But they interviewed all the towns that used to be on the Pacific Highway. And it's like the gold rush towns, some of them, that, they had their heyday, and now there's just one guy sitting on his front porch talking about what it used to be like. The Truro people, quite understandably, their fears are legitimate.
We thought we'd ask you for a $100 Walrus gift card this morning to nominate the best South Australian small town to stop in. If you're driving anywhere, any direction, pick your favourite to stop in. 8223 Everyone can give us one. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Out Barker text line, 0448 08 1395. The southeast of the state was left without power after a spate of organised copper thefts meant that the power was out completely. SA Power Network said that the cause of the Kingston SE region outage was vandalism, but what they actually found when they inspected the situation was that it wasn't vandals but thieves who had pinched copper and rendered the entire system out. SA Power Networks have doubled their standard reward, so there's a $20,000 reward on offer for information that will lead to the conviction of those responsible for the copper theft from their electricity infrastructure.
My question is, who do you sell it to? Once you've got the copper, and this is why so many hot water services get stolen.
Like usually building sites.
Yeah. When I had that place in Torrensville many years ago, when it was being sold, the for sale sign was on it, and some bludger came in and stole the hot water service from out the back. But what do you do with it? You take it down to the local pub under your trench coat?
Yeah, in the boot of the car. You want some copper?
Yeah. Bizarre.
I don't know. And I don't know what you do. I presume
it's hugely important mineral.
Absolutely.
It's one of the reasons why BHP is so flush with cash. Because every single mobile phone in the world does not work without the copper componentry in it.
So, yeah, thankfully that's been restored. So the good people of the southeast don't have to deal with what we know this morning are particularly cool conditions. We'll speak to the Bureau about that shortly. Greg in Toorak Gardens has called in. Morning, Greg.
Morning, boys. I've got a sporting one right under our nose, and it's a sport that Pembo will have heard of, not squash. D.G. Bradman, cricket.
Yes.
Yeah, he was pretty good.
Well, when you think of the numbers, we'll sort of know about him, of course, but the next best player in Test cricket in 150 years, the next best of all the great players, has averaged about 62 or 63.
Yeah.
Bradman was 100, nearly done. And in 52 Test matches, he made 29 Test hundreds, so better than every second Test hundred. Every second Test match, he makes 100.
It's staggering, isn't it?
When you look at those numbers, it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
There was
You look at the bats he used to use too. Like you look at Dave Warner's bat these days,
but also
cheating.
uncovered pitches.
Yeah, that's
games
right.
that get called off these days for the quality of pitch they played on back then, the uneven bounce and variable speed. There was a statistical analysis once done about all sports across the world, the difference between the best and the second best ever to have done it, and Bradman was streets ahead.
Yeah.
There's not been a level of dominance.
Lot to be said for hitting a golf ball against a rainwater tank.
Yep, turns out. But I don't know why no one else bothered doing that.
That's right.
We should have giant sheds with rainwater tanks in them.
Exactly.
The AIS, it's just nothing but 500 water tanks and
and a
stumps.
bucket of golf balls.
Exactly. All right, it's 14-7. Let's check traffic thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now. Dave Potter Honda.
Good morning. Wet on the roads today, so do take some extra care on the freeway up Trape with the middle lane closed in the tunnel. That goes for about a K once you're out of the tunnels, and roadworks to look out for this morning at Norwood, Portrush Road near McGill Road, both directions down to 40 Ks, and at Seaton Trimmer Parade near Tapley's Hill Road, got a lane closed there, both directions also down to 40 Ks. Speed cameras to look out for today, Military Road, Taparoo, North Street, Henley Beach, and Semaphore Road at Exeter. The Amazon.com.au mid-year sale is live now with great deals. Plus, new customers get free delivery on your first eligible order. T's and C's apply. Shop Amazon.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Living with osteoarthritis means living with pain, but SportsMed is changing that thanks to the revolutionary GLAD program. Here's SportsMed's Dr. Greg Keane with more.
GLAD is a 6-week exercise program performed in groups, and it continues to produce remarkable results for patients, even a year after completing the course. If you are struggling with the pain of osteoarthritis, visit SportsMed. Let's beat this.
SportsMed.
Start living life again, even with arthritis.
Sportsmed.com.au.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery, or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby, or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
We will be hearing a lot about South Australia's hidden gems, so if you're feeling the urge for that regional road trip, make sure you get there and back safely with help from Automasters.
I tell you what, it is one of the great things about life in South Australia that intra-state travel was only restricted for such a brief period of time.
Yeah.
And there's so many parts of SA to explore. One of the few good things to come out of the last year is that you can get out and about. And look, if you're going to get out and about, do it with Automasters, because these guys will get you ready to roll on the road. They'll perform expert safety checks, provide you with a vehicle condition report, and it's all there in black and white.
Certainly is. With a 45-year history and servicing over 2,700 cars each week, Automasters have grown to be one of the most trusted alternatives to the dealers for your servicing and repairs, and logbook servicing without voiding your warranty.
That's right. Automasters, they also have a lot of regional areas covered with outlets in Victor Harbour, Barossa, Murray Bridge and Mount Barker.
Automasters, keeping you and your car safe on the road. Call 1300 Automasters.
Because whistling is what Alice does, she sounds like this. And because home loans are what we do at Rams, we know all there is to know about getting you into a new home. Talk to the home loan specialist. Search Rams Home Loans today.
Credit criteria, fees, charges, terms and conditions apply. Elevate the everyday in the elegant Renault Koleos SUV. Available from just $32,990 drive away. Contact your local dealer today. Renault Koleos. Life less ordinary.
9 News. Weeknights at 5. Nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News. Made in Adelaide.
Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10-7, Senior Constable Kylie Simpson from Sapole joins us. Morning to you, Kylie.
Good morning.
Now, a car's crashed into a pub at Theberton.
That's right. Just after 10:30 last night, police and emergency services were called to the corner of Port Road and Phillip Street after reports the car had crashed into a pub. Thankfully, the driver of the car and patrons inside the pub weren't injured, so SES attended and assisted with boarding up the damage. The driver, a 24-year-old man from Thorngate, submitted to an alco test and returned a reading of 0, which was good. He was reported for driving without due care and will be summoned to appear at court at a later date. So it was pretty slippery last night. So I think, that might have contributed to the crash.
Yeah, right. Port Road and Phillip Street. I'm just trying to play.
The Southwark Hotel.
The Southwark. I love that pub.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful old pub.
Yeah, it is, isn't it? It's beautiful. Thankfully, the damage wasn't too bad. I don't think there's anything structural, and the SES just boarded up the hole. So.
It's got a lovely little drive-through out the back, and everyone's always normally sitting around there. They've got a 4-burner barbecue, and it's got a real community vibe. So hopefully,
that's right. It's like a little country pub, isn't it? In the middle of Port Road.
Yeah. No, it totally is. Exactly. That's right, Kylie. Also, a man's been arrested after breaking into a car in the CBD.
That's right. This was also about 10:30. Police were called to a multi-storey car park just off Weymouth Street after a man was seen breaking into a car. So police discovered a corkscrew had been snapped off in the keyhole to a Honda CRV in an attempt for the person to gain entry. So police located and arrested the suspect nearby, a 44-year-old man from Windvale. He was arrested and charged with illegal interference. He's been refused police bail and he'll appear in court today.
Corkscrew?
Yeah.
Wouldn't have thought you'd start a car with a corkscrew.
I think he may have been interested in what's in it.
Good on you, Kylie.
Yeah, that's right. Thanks, Kylie.
Senior Constable Kylie Simpson from SAPOL. Let's talk weather. Brett Gage, Senior Forecaster at the Bureau today. Oh, chilly start to the morning. Brett, how's it going to play out?
Yeah, it's not going to heat up too much today, guys. Currently it's 8 degrees and only heading for a top of 14. A shower or two continuing today, but becoming a bit less likely this afternoon. And pretty strong winds still out in the metro waters. We've still got southerlies at 20 to 30 knots, so a strong wind warning is current for the metro waters for today. Then we've got a high-pressure system south of the Bight, which is extending a ridge of high pressure up over the west of our state. So the showers and winds have eased over there, and then that ridge of high pressure will slowly drift over us for the next few days. So the weather won't change much. We're heading for tops of 17 with overnight lows of 10 for Thursday right through to Sunday. And we've got just a partly cloudy day for Thursday, but then just a slight chance of a light shower around for Friday, Saturday and Sunday. Very little expected in it, but, mostly just cloudy days. And then a possible shower for both next Monday and Tuesday with tops of 18 and 19. So not a lot in the way of rainfall, but we may have sort of lengthy periods without the sun around too.
Nothing that would ruin a golf game on Friday afternoon, though, by the sounds of it, Brett.
No, I think, you might get a light spit, but nothing to stop you, I think.
Excellent.
Good stuff,
news.
Brett. Brett Gage,
good on you, Brett.
Senior Forecaster at the Weather
done
Bureau.
well.
Agree with this text from Sean. Well, at least the first part of it. I can't vouch for the second. Penola is a beautiful town, talking about the great small towns to stop in South Australia. He does say, though, it was like a ghost town when I drove through last October because the bypass has been put in. Penola is just beautiful.
Yeah, it is.
It's magnificent.
It is really nice. That park in the middle of town.
Yeah.
And all the old homes as well.
Yeah, it's spectacular. Old Tailem Town, says another texter on the Telstra Stormont Parker text line. Best small town to stop by in. It's 6 to 7. We're flashing back with Michael Smith right after this.
There's no blueprints to your new custom-built Beechwood home. Well, not yet anyway. But together with Beechwood, it won't take long to turn your ideas into sketches, then drawings, and finally a home you can live a beautiful life in. That's the really exciting thing about building with Beechwood Homes. They'll build the home you want. So collect your thoughts, your ideas, your Pinterest boards, whatever, and let's talk. Because life's good. It's even better in a Beechwood home.
It isn't waste until you waste it. That's the catch cry from an amazing company called Eco Waste Solutions. Eco Waste Solutions is a hard waste recycling facility, not a dump, located at Williston. They'll take everything except hazardous waste and food scraps. They'll take your waste bricks, your mattresses, tyres, soil, timber, steel, concrete and more. Plus, if you pre-sort your load, you receive a 50% discount on disposal fees. Google Eco Waste Solutions Williston for more.
Houston, we are about to make contact with Australia. The Eagle has landed.
US Managed Healthcare has landed in Australia with the joint venture between NIB and American giant Cigna Health Corporation. Australians do not want US Managed Healthcare in this country. Let your local federal member know you say no to US Managed Healthcare in Australia. Visit sendtheeaglehome.com.au. Authorised by Kay Gallagher, Australian Society of Ophthalmologists.
Ready? Here we go. Mawson Lakes Mazda's end of financial year clearance is on now. Not the first clearance we've done, but let me tell you, there's never been one like this. The prices are way low, but the choices are so high. We've got hundreds in stock, so chances are you'll get your dream model in the colour you're after. Grab an end of financial year price on the car you've been waiting for. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
3 minutes to 7, after 7 o'clock, we're going to dive into the local detail released in the last 24 hours regarding Operation Ironside. This is the sting that conceived by Australians with the FBI that's had global ramifications, led to nearly 1,000 arrests and thwarted everything from drug trades to an execution on the Nord Parade. The detail coming after 7 o'clock. Let's flash back before we look forward. Michael Smith from 7 News joins us. Morning, Michael.
Good morning, Will and Dave. We thought we'd go on a roller coaster ride into the past this morning. How well do you guys remember Dazzleland?
I can remember when it opened, and it was the talk of the town. Every young person was mad keen to go there.
I remember going there when it opened and going on that hellish roller coaster with my mother. I think it was going to be fun, and it turned out to be quite thrilling. A little more than we expected. Still traumatised, Michael.
Of course, Dazzleland was a major feature of the Maya Theatre. 30 years ago it opened, and Dave, 200,000 people turned out on that first day. Incredibly, it was one of the most expensive buildings in the world when it was built. $570 million in 1991, about $1 billion today. Wow. I've caught up with Business SA boss and former Lord Mayor Martin Hazy, who you might remember was a very successful retailer in the mall in the 90s. He had both YouthWorks stores. He said by the time the Maya Centre opened, after all the delays and industrial action, people just couldn't wait for the doors to open.
There was a lot of kind of pent-up demand. There was a lot of pent-up excitement about this wonderful new building that was attracting all these new retailers. And at the time, it was kind of like the height of modernity. I mean, this was cutting edge, and it was Memphis design. So Memphis design was kind of the flavour of the month at that time in the late 80s and the early 90s. It was very, very Miami Vice.
What a great comparison by Martin Hazy. Miami Vice really nails it. It's not the most attractive building in Adelaide, I don't think.
I don't know that it stood the test of time like Art Deco or Art Nouveau. I'm going to say, I've never heard of Memphis design before. Are you guys across that?
No, I'm not familiar with that one.
I used to go there for the Virgin Megastore. Remember that? That was massive, that place on the ground floor.
That's the thing I remember being most excited about when it opened, and a couple of thousand people turned out because Darryl Braithwaite famously opened that and had to close off the mall because there were so many people there. But it also brought to town a whole lot of retailers that we hadn't seen here before. So it really sort of changed city retailing. And Martin said was a catalyst for a whole lot of other developments down the mall in years to come. Interestingly, it was the first time that one of the major department stores no longer had its windows fronting the street, which was a real change as well.
I like the picture you tweeted of Martin Hazy in his heyday, Michael, earlier in the week.
It's worth watching Flashback tonight just for that. He was a trendsetter in terms of fashion, but also peroxided hair.
Oh, the bleach blonde hair is something else. Yeah, I didn't.
He took the Miami Vice thing quite literally.
Oh, boy. Oh, yeah. He was a different cat back in the day, the former
That's
Lord
good.
Mayor. Michael, looking forward to it. Thanks for your time.
Check that out on Twitter right now.
Michael
Good on you, Mike.
Smith from 7 News joins us as we flash back each week, and you, of course, catch it on 7 o'clock. On Channel 7 at their 6 o'clock news. It is 7 o'clock for us right now, and we're talking Operation Ironside right after this.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio, and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 14 today with the 7 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
The Southwark Hotel at Theberton is looking a little worse for wear. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says a car crashed into the pub on the corner of Port Road and Phillip Street just after 10:30 last night.
Thankfully, the driver of the car and patrons inside the pub weren't injured. SES attended and assisted with boarding up the damage. The driver, a 24-year-old man from Thorngate, submitted to an alco test and returned a reading of 0.
He's been reported for driving without due care and will be summoned to front court at a later date. Authorities around the world are revealing more details about the arrests made as part of Operation Ironside. The FBI's Calvin Shivers says drugs and guns have been seized in the sting and many lives saved.
There are a number of things that resulted from this. Not only have we heard about the number of arrests and the number of seizures, but there were over 100 threats to life that were mitigated.
Voluntary assisted dying legislation will go before the lower house today for a final vote. It's South Australia's 17th attempt in 25 years to pass euthanasia laws. Monash University's Professor Paul Komesarov says the bill, which is modelled on Victorian law, includes 70 safeguards.
Individuals need to be in the final stages of a terminal illness, and they need to be experiencing suffering in a way that's adequately managed to their satisfaction. So it's the choice of an individual.
Melbourne's lockdown is expected to end on Friday after more talks between the government and health officials. Nine's Kiara Parker has the latest.
Melbourne's 2-week lockdown is set to lift on Friday as planned, but residents will be restricted to travelling 25 kilometres from their home in a bid to prevent people heading to the regions for the long weekend. News Corp reports students are expected to return to the classroom as early as Friday, and cafes and restaurants will be limited to 50 customers. Visitors to the home will still be banned, and gyms are expected to remain closed. Post-lockdown restrictions will be finalised this morning, following talks last night over ending the extended circuit breaker. Regional Victoria, which emerged from lockdown last Friday, will also open up further.
A lack of supermarket competition could be to blame for poor returns on fruits and vegetables for farmers. A new study suggests just 23% of the proceeds go to growers. That's below the global average. The National Farmers Federation's Vice President, David Yohinki, says producers may find it difficult to demand a fair price.
When you've got monopolies or oligopolies where there's just almost very little competition in purchasing the commodities, the goods that farmers have, that is obviously one of the many blockers that we have in that supply chain.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
What's happening in the footy, Tom Wren?
Well, unfortunately, Adelaide defender Mel Luke Brown has been ruled out of Saturday night's clash against St Kilda because of Achilles soreness. Brown missed last week with the same issue. Crows head of football Adam Kelly telling the club's website they're hopeful he'll be back soon.
The plan with Luke moving forward is that he'll miss the game against the Saints this weekend. We're using this opportunity, through the game against Collingwood, St Kilda, and then with the bye to follow, we're using it as an opportunity to manage that ongoing Achilles soreness and have Luke available for selection in round 14.
AFL Hall of Famer Lee Matthews says the league is in new territory after Adam Goodes said no to an offer to be inducted into the Hall of Fame. Matthews says it's quite sad.
I don't think that's happened before. So therefore, what does the future hold in this kind of situation? I don't know. Is it automatic? Each year it gets re-offered? Maybe that's what happens. I think this is a new territory that this is all that's happening here.
Meantime, Sydney co-captain Josh Kennedy has signed a 1-year extension to stay at the Swans. To tennis, and Stefanos Tsitsipas has just advanced to the semi-finals of the French Open following a comprehensive straight sets win against number 2 seed Daniil Medvedev. He'll now take on Alexander Zverev, who also had a straight sets win. And thousands of rugby league fans are gearing up for Game 1 of State of Origin this evening. New South Wales and Queensland will lock horns in Townsville. The game moved from the MCG due to Melbourne's coronavirus outbreak. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles. Now at Dave Potter.
On the freeway up track, we've got the middle lane closed in the tunnel. That goes for about a K once you're out of the tunnels. Stirling Carvey barrier, that's on Sturt Valley Road near Heather Road. Take some care there, wet conditions. Getting busy, Goldview Heights, McIntyre Road, Bridge Road to Golden Way as you're heading towards Modbury. And roadworks today, got a lane closed at Seaton. Trimmer Parade near Tapley's Hill Road. Speeds also down to 40 Ks. Speed cameras this morning, Robe Terrace North Adelaide and Military Road at Taparoo. COVID-19 vaccinations are now available for people with a specified medical condition or disability. To find out if you're eligible, visit covidvaccine.sa.gov.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
A shower or two and 14 today, partly cloudy tomorrow 17, Friday partly cloudy also 17. Right now it's 8 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
This was odd. French President Emmanuel Macron has been slapped in the face.
Well, not by someone holding a leather glove. He hasn't been challenged to a duel, has he?
No, there was no... They didn't drop the glove. It was just the old-fashioned slap. He was visiting a small town in southern France. 2 people have been arrested. He denounced the incident as an insult to democracy.
What's the clay thing? Are the clay courts more common in Spain?
Yeah, they would
absolutely
be. And the other thing too...
Those very good terracotta pots. Whether you're making a paella.
All part of the same thing.
That's right.
Well, the other thing too, boys, is as many as those two will win, I think Djokovic will catch them both.
Yeah. This is a great shame because no one likes Novak.
What a jerk. He's the Pete Evans of sport.
Let's flash back before we look forward. Michael Smith from 7 News joins us.
Of course, Dazzleland was a major feature of the Maya Centre 30 years ago. It opened and 200,000 people turned out on that first day. Incredibly, it was one of the most expensive buildings in the world when it was built.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
7 after 7, Sean Fewster will join us after 7:30. We'll go around the courts with Sean. Suspect he's going to have a bit of work to do when it comes to the outcomes of Operation Ironside. In fact, that might be all Sean writes about for some time.
He's doing a good defamation trial at the moment. Mike Turter, the former Tour Down Under boss. Interesting case about online commentary. What you say about a person on social media is a form of publishing. I imagine we'll be getting into that one with Sean.
Yesterday, across 16 countries, more than 800 people were arrested. We've got detail this morning of how Operation Ironside, this is the giant sting operation where police effectively gave criminal masterminds, in inverted commas, cracked phones that they thought meant that no one would be able to know what they were talking about, except it turns out one group of people could, and there were police officers across 16 countries around the world who were privy to every single conversation that a whole bunch of underworld figures were having. The outcome is 800 people arrested around the globe, but a stack here in South Australia as well. Let's start globally first. Here is the from the FBI. Their head of Criminal Investigative Division, Assistant Director Calvin Shivers.
The FBI provided criminal organizations encrypted devices that allowed us to monitor their communications.
That much we know. What we've learnt is what it means for South Australia. There were 80 properties raided, 39 people charged by SAPOL, 8 more by the Australian Federal Police, one a well-known Northern Suburbs businessman who actually introduced fellow criminals to the ANOM platform. These are the cracked devices that allowed police to listen in.
Who is that guy? That is the great
a well-known Northern Suburbs businessman. Now, it strikes me, and this is not clear in the reporting today, but there's a great graphic in the Tiser detailing who SAPOL, I think, have caught up with. The AFP component of this, I suspect, we're not going to learn about soon. That one will perhaps come out a little bit later. They seized just a staggering amount of stuff. Restrained 23 properties worth more than 11 million, 68 vehicles. There were Mercedes and Lamborghinis. They seized expensive watches, Louis Vuitton clothing, a number of extensive wine collections, including 2 full sets of Penfolds Grange worth $400,000 each.
What, going back to like 1952?
It must be. They include
Unbelievable.
6 kilos of methamphetamine, 10,000 ecstasy tablets, 1.5 kilos of cocaine and cannabis. But the headliner in South Australia was the plot that was foiled that would have seen, on the day after the Melbourne Cup last year, a public execution played out on the Nord Parade. There were 5 members of the Comancheros, it is alleged, conspired to murder the man by gunning him down with a machine gun on the parade.
And this was going to be a Latin American drug cartel-style drive-by. The most remarkable part is that these crims had hidden a motorbike somewhere in the eastern suburbs, and they'd been discussing it on the app because the motorbike was going to be used to ride up to this bloke after he left the cafe. When he was walking back to his car, they were going to arrive on the motorbike with the machine gun him down in broad daylight, just off the parade, and then there was a jerry can full of petrol. They were going to drive off in the motorbike and then burn the motorbike, torch the motorbike to hide the evidence. But what happened was, because the cops were listening in on this app, when the motorbike had been hidden, the cops turned up and they took the motorbike. So then the crims went to find the motorbike to do this hit. The motorbike had gone. So they stole another motorbike and hit a second motorbike, and that was when the cops intervened.
That sounds to me, gives you a little bit of an insight into the way in which they use their intel. The AFP, SAPOL, the FBI and others. They clearly didn't want to tip their hand about what they knew, because they've had this information for years. Like, this goes back a year. The arrests were made yesterday. So they clearly were doing things like, there's an execution plan, let's get rid of the means for it. We'll get rid of the bike. So hopefully that means they will just can it and go, we'll do it another day.
But imagine the crims rocking up going, where's the bike?
The bike, didn't you...
Where's the bike gone?
Hey, Rocco, didn't you get the bike?
Well, this leads to the other thing. The guy that they were going to kill, the police were getting so much intel via the app that these crims concluded that they had a rat. And the guy who they thought was the rat, they were going to kill this bloke purely because, and they had no way of knowing this, but the cops knew so much stuff about what all these plots were and did things like pinch the motorbike, that the criminal guys just concluded that the bloke they were going to whack,
he was an informer.
An informer, and he wasn't.
Yeah.
It was just the cops were just reading everything on their stupid messages.
Here's AFP Commissioner Reece Kershaw.
They were using a machine gun and potentially at a cafe where people would have been no doubt harmed. We were able to, with the cooperation of that particular state police force, take out that individual before they were able to do that.
See, all these people, like, you know, they're just the dregs of society, aren't they? And, like, you know, the important thing for us as a community is you think about all of those cafes along the parade. Such a beautiful public space. It's such a family-oriented part of town, a place where you go to meet friends. I know, like, my parents and their group of friends who are all retired, they'll often go and have lunches and dinners and coffees there at the many different cafes. There's great shops. You know, people there, you know, deriving all of their income from working in retail. The idea that these bludgers were going to use a place like that as a venue for such terrible violence, I think it's terrific. And we've had messages on the Telstra Swim Barker text line from people just saying, "Hey, good on the cops."
Yeah,
like the fact that so many of these scumbags have been taken out of circulation, you know, while the rest of us are out there actually trying to make an honest living by just working. You know, not trying to get people addicted to drugs to underwrite their miserable, lazy existence. It feels like the entire criminal underclass of our city has been, if not destroyed, then certainly had, like, a lot of the props that hold it together really ripped out from underneath it.
And it all can be traced back to a couple of beers and a conversation between an Australian AFP officer and some members of the FBI.
Yeah. Well,
so you know it'd be good. You know it'd be good if they all used phones we could just all tap. It'd be funny if we just got a device and convinced them it was the only way we couldn't listen in, but it turned out to be the only way we could. And that's literally what they did.
Yeah. And you know, as we said yesterday, this is such a good Revenge of the Nerd story, you know, because the IT guys who came up with this were probably the ones who were being teased as, you know, 55-pound weaklings by these steroid-munching buffheads. when they were teenagers, and they got their comeuppance through just a really intelligent and methodical person who sat down and said, I reckon we can catch him with this app. It's like the accountant who got Al Capone. You know, the thing they got him for in the end was tax evasion.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
This guy, just a smart person, outsmarted these dopes.
80 properties raided, 47 people arrested between SAPOL and the AFP. If you saw any of it unfold in the last 48 hours, let us know. 8223 0000 or text us on the Telstra Store Matt Barker text line 044808 1395. We'll get to some more of the news headlines in a moment, but first let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
On the freeway up track, we've got the middle lane closed in the tunnel. That goes through about a K once you're out of the tunnel. It's wet conditions there today, so take some care. Stirling, Carvey, Barrier, that's on Sturt Valley Road near Heathrow Road. Roadworks today to look out for. Got one lane closed from Dry Creek to Waterloo Corner on Port Wakefield Road, both directions down to 40 Ks. And Panorama change conditions today, Goodwood Road and Springbank Dawes Road. Speeds also reduced down to 40. Speed cameras to look out for today, Grey Terrace, Rosewater, Fitzroy Terrace at North Adelaide. At the Mazda Moment end of financial year sale, the moment to make it yours is now. Visit your Mazda dealer to arrange a test drive today. There isn't a moment to lose. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Leon Biner.
Here's the words of an email that was going around the Royal Adelaide Hospital yesterday. Please be advised that a major incident, internal disaster, has been declared as of 1 p.m.
9 till 12 weekdays.
Elective surgery operations cancelled, meaning people who had waited years for surgery were sent home still in pain without their operations.
SSA as Leon Biner. SSA as AA.
It's incredible. Over 75% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to live the dream in this fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. There are over 15,000 incredible prizes to win, including luxury vehicles, local getaways and so much more. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care. Licence M13989.
What's the trusted Australian off-roading brand made for Australian conditions? TJM. They know the South Australian bush because it's their backyard, just as it's yours. So who better to give the best advice on what equipment you need? Whether you're a novice or an experienced off-roader, see the TJM team. They stand by their products and have been doing it since 1973. Get into TJM today and get off-road tomorrow. Nailsworth and Clovelly Park, tjmsa.com.au.
Well, I'm here with Clayton Sheehan from Australian Direct. He's the man behind the Kick-Ass brand. Thanks for joining us, Clayton.
Thanks, Lee.
Hey, Clayton, tell us about your first product.
Well, the first product that I ever sold, I found online, and it was a heat exchanger. He had a bad description on his website. I asked him if I could rewrite the description and sell them for him.
So how then does it evolve to Kick-Ass?
Well, we were selling other people's products, but I was talking to the customers directly, and I was getting feedback about changes and improvements that could be made. I told the suppliers, and they weren't listening. So I decided that somebody had to make products that kick ass. We made portable solar panels that are super lightweight, our own fridges, battery systems, and those products kick ass.
Well, there you have it, folks. The story behind Australian Direct and Kick-Ass products. Check them out at australiandirect.com.au.
Now, the following is a paid message from the Australian Society of Ophthalmologists. US managed healthcare has landed in Australia with a joint venture between NIB and American giant Cigna Health Corporation. US managed healthcare means the health insurer seeks to exert control over your care, including cost of treatment, extent of treatment, choice of doctors, choice of hospital, and more. Now, with our Australian system, you have a choice, and with US managed healthcare, you won't. It's that simple. If you want to be able to choose, then let's send the Eagle home. Let your local federal MP know that you say no to US managed healthcare in Australia. For further information, visit sendtheeaglehome.com.au, authorised by Kay Gallagher, Australian Society of Ophthalmologists.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
19 minutes after 7, Sean Fuster after 7:30, Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club after 8. Also, Lord Mayor Sandy Bashir will join us live in the studio after 8:30 today. Now, We are getting news out of Victoria that with increasing surety, the lockdown will either end Friday morning or Thursday night. But by Friday, the expectation is that the lockdown will end, save for a couple of major measures, including residents being restricted from travelling more than 25 k's from their home. They don't want people over the Queen's birthday weekend to be travelling everywhere in regional Victoria and getting out of the city. The other thing that is going to happen is that students will return to school on Friday morning. You still have to wear masks. There'll be density limits for offices. Restaurants and cafes will only have 50 people. Gyms will stay closed. So it's a lockdown with some giant caveats. I guess the question now will come, what happens to the border?
Well, there's a good text from Andrew on the text line. He says, "Hi, Will and David. With the Victorian lockdown ending, does this mean travel restrictions will be lifted for residents wanting to return to SA? Or is it only exemptions for football teams that still apply?" Fair question.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's up to the transition committee to decide. We'll try to put a call in to whoever's running the state in the course of the next half hour or so and see what the go is. But although if Victorians are told they're not allowed to go 25 kilometres away, that might preclude some of them from making it to the airport.
That's a reasonable point.
Because if you lived in Dandenong or something, on like the eastern side of town, you couldn't make that's the airport's more than 25 kilometres away, isn't it?
Oh, I'm not sure what the order of events over in Victoria is at the moment, but you'd like to think if they've had time to brief most of the journalists that there's going to be an announcement in a few hours' time, and these are going to be the changes that the South Australian government and other state governments might have been given a heads up to. So hopefully the South Australian Transition Committee has some information. They're working on a plan, and we'll get that information to you as soon as it comes to us. Anyone tried to buy firewood recently? We are facing a national firewood shortage in Australia.
Yeah, it's hard to come by.
Well, and prices are going up. There's a concern that we may in this country run out of firewood before the end of winter. Extreme weather in New South Wales. There's COVID-related components of this as well. But there is just a dearth of firewood across the country at the moment. New South Wales is the main supplier. Bushfires dating back to 1920 have meant that they have a lower amount than usual. The Riverland Firewood in South Australia is a big supplier as well, not as big as New South Wales, but they've copped the overflow and they're running thin as well now. I just wonder, does anyone have we don't have a fireplace at our place. I love them. I'd love to have one. But people who at this time of year would start running a fireplace all the time, how are you going on the firewood front? And have you seen any jump in prices, or is this just the industry warning everyone that the jump is coming?
I've seen it at both Mitre 10 and Bunnings in the last couple of weeks, those big bags, which is actually the least cost-efficient way to buy it. You know, you buy those bags, like the ones you see at the servo as well. They're like, $15 normally for the hardwood, but you get like 8 logs, which is, for a standard nectar fireplace, that's probably 2 fires, two good hot raging fires that you'd need for a night like tonight and a night like last night. So, $7.50 every time you light the fire. That's a fairly expensive process.
So it's becoming expensive.
So, most people go and buy it in the ute. You get a ton.
Yep.
From a garden supplier or lumberyard.
You might want to on-sell it on the black market now.
$400 a tonne. Hills resident. Money just texted me. Thank you for that. $400 a tonne. A lot of dough.
Really is, isn't it? 8223 0000 is our number. You can text us on the Telstra Storm Barker text line too. Anytime on any issue, 0448 08 1395. Let's turn our attention to sport, and we do so, of course, thanks to the wonderful people at North Point Toyota. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. Book your test drive today. It is the North Point way. Last night, Rowie did a bit of an editorial at the top of the show about Adam Goodes turning down his offer to be inducted into the Australian Football Hall of Fame.
I don't know how to feel about this. Am I sad? Am I disappointed? I can't get the right word for it. But AFL great Adam Goodes, he's knocked back an induction into the Australian Football Hall of Fame. Now, Goodsy retired in 2015. After 372 great games, he's won Brownlows, Premierships, B&Fs, leading goal kicker, full-time All-Australian. His record is amazing. He's actually a legend of the game, one of the greatest to have ever played. And sadly, we, and I put myself in this, drove him out of it. Now, I didn't stop and say stop the booing. I'm a booer. I didn't reach out to him. I made some poor comments back in the day, and I remember sitting here with Bix doing it. I didn't help at all. And people just didn't want to hear what he had to say. I think that's what it come down to. We call it out now. You see the hashtags call it out when anything like this comes out in any of the AFL clubs. AFL chairman Richard Goyder, he issued a statement. The AFL and our game did not do enough to stand with him and call him out. And again, he has apologised. Just think about it for a sec. This is the highest accolade or honour you can get for playing our great game. And he got a phone call and he said no. Now, this is a man of real principle and conviction, and he said he can't support an industry or a body, that being the AFL, that's made him feel, and I don't know whether it's made him feel ashamed or low, but it drove him out of the bloody game. And you know what? Now that I look back now, good on him. Absolutely good on him.
I reckon the best thing that I heard anyone say yesterday about this was what you said at 6:20 yesterday, David. You know, there's some thing entirely understandable and human about going, you know what, I don't want to have to deal with the 500 comments at the bottom of the article that's online or getting mentioned on social media. I prefer to just sit this one out. The honour is not so great as to outweigh all the other crap that will come with it.
Yeah, totally. And I even thought yesterday that his decision not to do it was actually illustrated perfectly by the fact that some of the keyboard warriors out there were even looking at his decision to say thanks but no thanks. We're going, oh, come on, you know, just let it go, mate. You know, let's just put a line under it, just accept it. And I thought, well, that's pretty warped, isn't it? The same people who were probably booing or didn't care that he was being booed are now saying he's a sook for not accepting it.
Yep. And it's
they want him honoured to show that he's a sook or he's not a sook? Well, how does that work? What's the logic there?
And it's consistent with how he's positioned himself. He's not a professional attention seeker. When was the last time we saw Adam Goodes do something? He's not.
We had a parliamentary footy tipping competition in the New South Wales Parliament in the year 1999 when I moved to Sydney from Canberra. And the year that a Labor MLC called Meredith Bergman, who was mad as a cut snake. She was one of the anti-Springbok protesters. She got arrested all the time, disrupting the rugby games when apartheid was still in place. She won the tipping comp. And we had drinks that night at the parliamentary bar, and everyone, like MPs and staffers and journos. It was a good, crazy night, New South Wales Parliament. Always a crazy night there. But a young footballer came along because she was massively involved with the Swans. And she said, "You got to meet this lovely new bloke, and he's got an SA connection. His name's Adam Goodes, and he was there that night, and I was talking to him, and with a few other blokes, and he was so young, but he was so shy, and he just seemed like just a really bloody good person. And I always think about that night now, thinking, what's he doing now? Is he just sitting in his house? Does he listen to transcripts of conversations like this? Would he follow Robbo's article on the Herald Sun's website? Does he plough through those comments? It's just so sad that someone who's that good gets chewed up and spat out the way you had. It was good what Rowie said. Really good.
Brodie Smith on the program with Stephen Rowe tonight. Also, Sir Swamp Thing. I'm looking forward to that. He's the guy on Twitter that people ask. You can ask him a question like, how many guys called Tim have kicked the first goal of the second quarter in AFL history? And somehow he spits out an answer.
What, just out of his brain?
No, he's got some sort of database. I don't know how he does it. It'll be worth listening to tonight because he's the go-to man on all obscure footy stats. He's quite extraordinary. That's on the Sports Show tonight. The all-new Kluger Hybrid has arrived at North Point Toyota. Book a test drive today. It's the North Point way. Dave in Albany, I don't want to get him into trouble, but he has texted us just to say that he secretly trades firewood on a secret carrier app called Operation Fireside with his mates. So I presume that's all above board.
Another Hills mate texted me going, $400. I wish we pay $550 a tonne.
Yikes.
I need something to look forward to when I get up in the morning.
The inspiring new movie Dream Horse is based on the true story of a small community who came together to raise a champion racehorse.
There's a less than 1% chance this horse will ever win a race.
The horse from nowhere has captured the hearts of the nation.
Dream Horse, starring Australia's own Tony Collette, along with Damien Lewis. See this warm-hearted, feel-good movie from June 10 at Event Cinemas.
For a limited time only, get up to a big $1,000 gift card at Harvey Norman when you buy on interest-free. That's right, up to a big $1,000 bonus gift card. Shop for furniture, bedding, electrical, technology and more. Buy on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to a big $1,000. Minimum finance $1,000, 60 equal monthly payments. Interest applies if you do not comply with terms and conditions. Fees, exclusions apply. Limited time only. Now at Harvey Norman.
Go! This is Adelaide's FIVEaa.
A shower or two and 14 today with the 7:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience. With 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
A car's ploughed into the Southwark Hotel west of the city. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says the incident happened at Theberton.
Just after 10:30 last night, police and emergency services were called to the corner of Port Road and Phillip Street after reports the car had crashed into a pub.
The driver and patrons inside the pub were not injured. The SES attended boarding up the damage. A 24-year-old man from Thorngate has been reported for driving without due care. Police involved in Operation Ironside allegedly prevented an execution on the parade at Norwood. A plot to assassinate a suspected police informant on the busy street was uncovered during the covert operation. Police allege members of the Comancheros conspired to murder the man by gunning him down with a machine gun after he was lured to a cafe. The plot was foiled when the gun was found hidden in a park at Ross Trevor. The voluntary assisted dying bill will return to the state's lower house today for a final vote. If passed, the proposed laws will come into force in SA within 18 to 24 months. The legislation is based on Victorian law. Monash University's Professor Paul Komesarov says it's been a success.
The legislation in Victoria appears to have been working fairly well. It's very, very similar to the South Australian legislation that includes multiple safeguards to ensure that vulnerable people are not put at risk.
Investigations are continuing into how the Delta coronavirus variant escaped from hotel quarantine in Melbourne and emerged in a suburban outbreak. Nine's Isabella Stokowski reports.
More than 51 breaches were discovered at the Novotel Ibis, causing the infection control boss and manager to be sacked not long before patient zero arrived. The man came to Australia from Sri Lanka and tested positive to the Delta variant on May 8. From the Novotel Ibis, he was taken to our health hotel, the Holiday Inn on Flinders Street, then released to his local government area, Glen Ira, on May 23. There are a number of ways transmission could have occurred: via a plane passenger, after hotel quarantine, through a staff member along the journey, or through a hotel resident. Our health department boss, meanwhile, says complacency has been an issue in hotel quarantine as of late, residents not getting tests when symptomatic.
Australian universities have climbed in the latest global rankings. The ANU is the highest ranked local institution at 27th, while the universities of Sydney and Melbourne both moved into the top 40. MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, remains in top spot. Oxford, Cambridge, Stanford and Harvard round out the top 5. A massive outage hit parts of the internet last night, taking down major websites like Netflix, Amazon and the BBC. Nine's Alison Petrowski reports from the US.
The problem was with Fastly, a cloud service provider based in San Francisco that supplies content delivery and website security. The outage resulted in hundreds of major news and company websites down, including Twitter, Instagram, YouTube and Zoom, in more than a dozen countries. There were initial concerns that the company was hacked, given the recent rise in cyber attacks on infrastructure. However, Fastly, quick to issue a statement saying they had identified the problem. It's now fixed and most of the affected websites are back online.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Fluorio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And it's over to Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide and Geelong's match will go ahead as scheduled tomorrow night, with the Cats given special permission to fly out straight after the game on a chartered flight. Both sides will name their teams for that match a little later tonight. Meantime, State of Origin Game 1 will light up North Queensland tonight in a first for the game. Nine's Peter Pasoltis reports.
It's a history-making night in Townsville. The first time rugby league showpiece has been taken to a regional centre. Queensland Country Bank Stadium is sold out for the eagerly anticipated clash. Maroons captain Daly Cherry Evans expects the game to be a typical Origin encounter, despite concerns about the NRL crackdown on high contact.
We're a game that always provides the best product for the fans. Origin will be what everyone expects it to be, and I can't wait.
For Queensland, Dane Gagai and AJ Brimson are set to play, overcoming injury and illness. Kick-off tonight is at 8:10.
And it's at 7:10 Adelaide time, I believe. Adelaide 36's coach Connor Henry has given an honest assessment of his side's 7th place finish. Speaking with Rowie, he admits a 13-23 record isn't what he wanted.
Yeah, it's a fail at the end of the day, with a little bit of a passing grade just because of what we went through. But at the end of the day, we need to win games.
Yes.
We're focused on that going into the off season in constructing a roster going forward, and we're optimistic.
One game to wrap up the minor round last night, with Brisbane beating South East Melbourne by 10 points. And Nikola Jokic has been named the NBA's MVP for this season. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles. Now at Dave Potter.
On the freeway, up track, got the middle lane closed in the tunnel, and that goes for about a K once you're out of the tunnels. Also got some delays at Stirling Car v Barry there, Sturt Valley Road and Heath Road. Cars in a pretty dangerous position, so look out for that this morning. Got a lane closed, also Crossroad near South Road, Edwardstown. Speed restrictions too, down to 25 Ks. And speed cameras at North Street, Henley Beach, Osmond Terrace at Norwood. Upgrade your phone this end of financial year at Optus. Trade in a selected phone to get huge credits towards a new one. Ends June 30th. T's and C's apply. Head into an Optus store for more details. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
14 with a shower or two for your Wednesday. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Friday, partly cloudy, also 17. Right now it's 7. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
Now, it's amazing what you can do when you can just focus on one thing. Like those people who can solve Rubik's Cubes in 8 seconds, or people who can juggle chainsaws. Rams, their specialty is home loans. Much prefer that to chainsaws. That's what they do, which means if there's a way to get you into a new home, they'll find it. From smooth pre-approvals to attractive rates, tailored products, and the personal support of your own dedicated home loan specialist, Rams knows about making your home ownership dreams a reality. You'll even have your home loan specialist's mobile number, so you can call them anytime and tap into their expertise directly. How good's that? Discover the difference a true home loan specialist can make. Search Rams Home Loans today, RAMS, Rams Home Loans. Credit criteria, T's and C's, fees and charges apply.
There she was, just walking down the street singing.
Building amazing homes is important.
Tapping her fingers and shuffling her feet singing.
22 minutes to 8. Coming up after 8 o'clock, Tim Duday will join us. Then a little bit later in the morning, the Lord Mayor Sandy Verschoor on the program. But right now, it's time to go around the courts with Sean Fewster. Good morning to you, Sean.
Morning, guys. I almost missed this segment. I was waiting for my message from you on an anom, and it never came through.
Hey, Sean, we're going to talk to you about that. Ditch the phone. Ditch it.
Yeah,
just
sorry.
ditch the phone.
Sorry.
Ditch it.
It does. We were saying yesterday, raises questions about the security that you associate with these encrypted apps, because I use WhatsApp quite a bit.
Mate, there's no such
Not
thing
that I'm
as
up to anything sus.
There is no such thing as security in the modern world except in your own skull. Honestly,
true.
like, unless you've committed it to paper, then burned and eaten the paper, there's no such thing as security. I just operate on this idea that everybody's able to read what I'm doing, so I just keep my words soft and sweet in case I have to eat them.
When this story breaks yesterday, Sean, do you look at it and go, well, there's my next 2 years sorted?
Well,
2 years? I reckon this will take you up to retirement age, won't it?
Well, it would have been had I not been involved in another ongoing case. So instead, my awesome colleagues Mitch Mott and Jordana Shriver have been covering this and will continue covering it for the rest of the week.
So whoever covers it from now will cover it when it gets to the courts.
It's a cab rank situation.
Yeah, okay.
When the case comes up, you take it, you follow it through the rest of the way.
Right.
So as a result, Mitch and JD, this is the rest of their careers, and they're both younger than me. So yeah, it will definitely go past my retirement.
Unbelievable story.
Well, let's get to some things that are happening now in your current career. And of course, brought to us by Crime Stoppers SA and Police Credit Union, supporting better communities, crimestopperssa.com.au. The Mike Turner defamation case is... This is really interesting. So just for listeners that aren't up to speed, bring us into the courtroom.
Well, I got to say this to start with. My wife, who is from Canada, looked at this and went, "This is the most Adelaide case I've ever heard of."
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
she's
it
right,
is.
because what you've got here is you've got Mike Turner, decorated champion cyclist, who has run the TDU for many, many years.
Gold medal winner.
Gold medal winner in multiple places, acknowledged publicly and loudly and broadly as the creator, the man that originated the concept. Several years ago, Francine Connor, very well known around Adelaide, former Adelaide City Councillor, marketing guru, professional wordsmith, posts something onto Facebook. Now, we're not going to say word for word what she posted, because under defamation law, if we do that, we've repeated the defamation. Mr. Turner says that post made assertions that he was not the creator of the TDU, that someone else was responsible, that that person has since died, and that he, Mr. Turner, has been falsely claiming credit for it and, benefiting from a dead man's idea. Understandably, he was very, very aggrieved and very upset about this. A year later, he filed a lawsuit saying, "I want damages, I want this dealt with." Mrs. Connor took the post down and said...
So it was up for a year?
Up for a year. She took the post down and said, "I'm sorry." Mr. Turner said, "Sorry's not good enough. I no longer have my job with the TDU. You posted around the same time that I was involved in very tense contract negotiations. I believe that ruined those tense contract negotiations. I believe you're the reason that I can't get on boards. I can't continue with the TDU. That Hitaf Rashid, who was at that point overseeing the TDU, chose not to hire me again. I think you acted with malice. I think you were trying to destroy me. And I think you were trying to do it because previously we had crossed swords over the TDU."
It's interesting insofar as people write all sorts of things all the time on Facebook and just think, I'm just saying this as a private individual, where the truth is they are in fact publishers.
Well, that's I've got to stop you there, because that's actually one of the defence points. Defence is actually coming back and saying, look, she wrote the posts. We don't deny that. We say there's nothing defamatory in the post. We say that it's not capable of carrying a defamatory imputation. We're also saying that nobody actually suffered damage as a result of it. What Mr. Turner says happened didn't happen. He suffered no public odium, no loss of reputation. And we also say that to publish on Facebook, it has to be seen by enough people
Well, that was
to
what I was
cause
going to
damage.
ask. What's the audience? Because you can tell exactly how many people read it on Facebook. Can't
She
you?
had I don't know about that. See, that's one of the points in contention. She had a friends list of about 915 people, but the post was on public, which means anybody that goes past can read it. The argument that Mr. Turner's making is that's enough. And he also points to the fact that Ms. Connor, after a little while, edited the post. So instead of saying Mr. Turner by name, it just referred to him as T.
T, yeah.
I reckon some of this is probably fairly straightforward to work through. For example, trying to establish that he was the creator of the TDU or not. I imagine there are emails and there's a paper trail, and that's probably easy.
And that's been tendered in court. Mr. Turner
Okay.
brought that with him when he gave his evidence. He even had, He even had the original page of loose leaf notepaper that he first conceived the idea on, that he took to the very first meeting with the SA government.
Well, that's compelling evidence, and I imagine that's the easy part. The difficult part, I imagine, then is trying to say that, well, the reason I didn't get on a board or the reason I didn't get a job was because of this specific post or this added to that. What's the evidence you tender in advance of that notion?
It's a really good question. I think you have to very much just say it in court, say that this is my genuine belief, compare it to the fact that He's not doing anything like that at the moment, and his company, which is co-run with his life partner Sandy Pisani, is not doing anything like that. He is not involved with the TDU anymore. The last one he ran was last year's event, which of course was the shrunken pandemic-affected event. And you've got to say to the court, we say there's a correlation. The court needs to agree with you.
It's interesting. There's a bit of a parallel with another massive defamation trial running at the moment, the Ben Robert Smith case against 9 newspapers. And also the 9 network through 60 Minutes. But yesterday, his counsel said, and they called a forensic accountant in and said he missed out on $325,000 worth of public speaking engagements the moment these allegations were levelled against him. So they could put a dollar figure on the exact amount of paid speeches that the VC winner was denied on account of his reputation being destroyed. So maybe Mike Turter's legal team will be trying to say, well, okay, this is the job he missed out on and this is what it cost him.
I think the thing for me with defamation, and I think everybody should have take public notice of this, is you've got to remember that when you go on Facebook, to your point, David, a moment ago, you're stepping into another world, because it's not just, I said that on Facebook. I got a situation with a friend at the moment who has been potentially blackmailed by a rival online who posted negative information about him on the internet, said, do something with your business or else I'm going to publish negative information about you online, then did publish that information. This is a very small potatoes, small businessy kind of thing, the sort of thing that, 2 guys at 2 rival chip shops yelling at each other across the street. It's what it would have been once upon a time, but now it's happening on YouTube. The police have actually been in touch and said to this bloke, you realise what you've done is actually blackmail, because the moment that you've cost him his business and he can show any form of economic loss, you are actually in the gun for blackmail. So this other guy's had to pull everything down, and my mate's, trying to rehab his business now. When you step to a certain level, you go past it being just your opinion or just an argument. You are actually risking blackmail, defamation, harassment. People got to think about that before they publish anything.
One of the ugliest areas of it on Facebook is in messy divorces.
Oh, yeah.
Like the amount of, there's been heaps of cases of people getting on and just bagging their ex-partner.
Yeah. But it's just funny how
people... They call it social media.
Yeah, well, it goes back to a nom again, doesn't it? This idea that just because it's in your head doesn't mean it can actually go out there, and the only place you've actually got any privacy of your thoughts is within your own skull.
Great to have you in, Sean.
Excellent stuff, Sean. Thank you, mate.
Make sure you catch Just Lawful Sunday night. No footy in the way this weekend, is there? No, footy's on Saturday night.
I believe so.
You're all clear.
We're all there.
Excellent.
No sports ball.
What round is it, Sean?
33.
That's unfair. I don't even know what round it is.
Isn't this the dynamite round where the fireworks go off if you don't score within the first 10 seconds?
Yeah,
that's right.
Something like that.
Yeah.
They might just take that as an idea, actually.
Almost anything goes.
Good on you. All right, let's check traffic. Thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
At Stirling this morning, got a car V barrier that's on Sturt Valley Road near Heathrow Road. It's in a dangerous spot on the road, so do drive with caution if you're around that area. The freeway up track got the middle lane closed in the tunnel. That goes through about a K once you're out of the tunnels. Busy on the drive in. Dry Creek North, Salisbury Highway, Blackie Avenue to Eldersmith Road. That's city bound. And speed cameras today, Fitzroy Terrace North Adelaide and Henley Beach Road at Henley Beach South. Let Alfred James help you lock in today's funeral prices with a prepaid funeral before June 30. Your local family-owned funeral director, Alfred James. The final farewell matters. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Building amazing homes is important to Beechwood Homes, and so is the environment. So when you build with Beechwood, you're building a better environment for our kids and grandkids. Around 70% of scrap materials from every Beechwood home is recycled. Bricks, rubble, timber, gyprock and steel, none of it goes to landfill. It's all sorted and recycled. So life really is good. It's even better in a Beechwood home. Take a look at the stunning Beechwood display home in Blackwood Park.
Elevate the everyday in the elegant Renault Koleos SUV. Available from just $32,990 drive away. Contact your local dealer today. Renault Koleos. Life less ordinary.
Winter's here and the cooler weather is perfect for spending time at home decluttering.
That's right.
Decluttering. Big declutterer. But what do you do with those pre-loved treasures that you don't want or need anymore?
I'll tell you what, mate. Wait till you've got kids, especially if you end up having 4. Because the amount of stuff that you go through, and then I spent half my life looking at things going, that's got St Vinny's written all over it now.
Ah, yes.
The old Hilux. You've seen it downstairs.
You're going to put the Hilux at St Vinny's?
No way. Oh. No, not the Hilux. The contents of the tray. Now, look, we call the people at St Vinny's compassion converters, your local Vinny shop, because this way the profits from the sale of your pre-loved items can provide a hand up to people doing it tough in our community.
Yeah, think homewares such as vases, dinner sets, glassware, cushions and throws. Think clothing, shoes, accessories. Next time you're deciding whether to let something go, you can do so knowing that your donation to Vinny's is making a real difference.
And I'll tell you what, like the amount of effort required to do a garage sale, you know, and you put the ad in the paper and, you know, then you set up the bridge tables out the front and then you go out there and you put like, you know, post-it notes on everything and someone says, oh, I'm not paying $5 for that teapot, I'll give you $3.
Yeah.
Look, save yourself the headache. Just put it all in the car and go to St Vinny's because now more than ever, Vinny's need your help. Find where to donate at vinnies.org.au/shops.
Hello, I'm Lynn Andrews. For over 50 years, the team at Lynn Andrews Real Estate have made it easy to manage residential and commercial property. Whether you own a single residential home or multiple commercial properties, our passion for property investment means we have a great deal of knowledge to share. How to invest safely and properly. Matching the right tenant with the right property every time. We're here to help. Visit lynnandrews.com.au.
It's incredible. Over 75% of tickets in the Hospital Research Foundation Home Lottery have already been sold. Don't miss your chance to live the dream in this fully furnished Scott Salisbury home on the Esplanade at South Brighton that comes with $1 million cash. There are over 15,000 incredible prizes to win, including luxury vehicles, local getaways and so much more. Get your tickets today at homelottery.com.au and join the fight for cures, better treatments and improved care. Licence M139989.
5AA Breakfast is streaming live right now. To watch, simply head online to 5AA Facebook or search 5AA on YouTube. Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10 to 8, our regional spotlight this morning's on a part of South Australia that I absolutely love, that we went to, David, not so long ago. We went to this place as well. The Seven Hill Hotel in the Clare Valley.
Oh, excellent spot.
What a spot.
Excellent spot.
SA's best country dining, 4 years running. Seven Hill Hotel in Clare Valley. It's sensational.
Great seller.
We've got an underground dining experience for the Seven Hill Hotel to give away. If you call in right now on 8223 0055, first one will get it this morning. Here's Jane Riley at the Seven Hill Hotel.
We're heading to the beautiful Clare Valley to the Seven Hill Hotel, which is on the main road at Seven Hill. And I'm chatting to the owner, Paul Longbottom. I have eaten many schnitzels there over the years. I know that you're a great supporter of variety here in South Australia. And look, one of the reasons you're so popular is that you have won the AHA SA Best Country Casual Dining Award 4 years in a row. You must be doing something really right.
Yeah, we have 4 years in a row, so long time being consistent, looking after local producers, and everything's handmade on site, and we take pride in what we put out.
What I love about the pub is that you have so many different areas, because you have like your front bar, then you have like your dining area, and then you actually have a more alfresco outside part as well, which is a great place to go if you've got kids.
Yeah, we've got a really kid-friendly outdoor area, fully enclosed and heated during winter, and a nice little outdoor deck. We've also got our underground cellar, which is awesome for a pretty unique dining experience amongst the wines downstairs.
Food-wise, you do some incredible meals. What's the most popular thing on your menu?
Oh, probably our schnitzels. Qantas put us in their top 15 schnitzels in Australia a couple of years ago. Everything's handmade on site. We crumb it, cut it, marinate it. And the size of them, really, really big meals.
I love that part of South Australia. I love the Clare Valley, and it's just such a beautiful spot. If people want to make a booking for dinner, or you do functions as well, what a great place to have a wedding reception or one of those birthdays that have got a 0 on the end. How do people get in touch with you, Paul?
They can give us a call on 88434217, or they can look us up on the website, www.sevenhillhotel.com.au.
Good on you. Paul Longbottom there from the Seven Hill Hotel.
And Adam from Hillcrest has won the Wonderful underground dining experience at the Seven Hill Hotel. SA's best country dining, 4 years running. Lots of texts on the Telstra Stormont Barker text line about firewood and the potential shortage that the country's facing as we get into the depths of, or we're approaching the depths of winter. One reads, "Morning guys, we bought some redwood last week from 2 different outlets, $475 and $450 a tonne. But hey, you have to keep warm." Whilst Lloyd says the price of firewood is relative. Our gas bill for the winter months is $900, which is about $600 higher than the summer gas bill. Depends how long the wood takes to burn, I guess. Thank you,
That's true.
Lloyd. All right, let's talk more about the weather. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News is on the line. Morning to you, Amelia.
Oh, you'd like that fire today. It's a very cold morning this morning, just 7 degrees at the moment. Our low is 4.9, even colder about the northern suburbs as it tends to be. 2.8 at Elizabeth, 1.8 at Parafield. And we're just really feeling this icy air settle in, last night and today. We're going for a top of 14 degrees in the city. There is still the odd shower around, just a cell sort of moving towards Noarlunga at the moment. Some showers about the hills as well, but, they're really more likely this morning and hopefully we might get a bit of a clear afternoon. But just the one thing you'll notice today is those southerly winds still. A bit windy about town and strong winds about metro waters as well, as those southerlies kick up to about 30 knots today. So again, I know I always talk about apparent temperature, everyone's favourite topic, but southerlies are what really impact how you perceive the temperature.
No,
So
look,
even
Amelia,
though it's
you do not have to convince us. We are total converts
You're
to
converts. I know.
apparent temperature
We're going to
clause.
get badges for you guys or something.
We're like born-again apparent temperature people.
Yeah. I was a doubter, but now I've embraced it.
We won't stop talking about it now.
Yeah.
We'll be holding meetings at the front bar soon, no worries. So even though it's 7 degrees at the moment, it feels more like 5. And I bet you anyone who's sort of walking the bus stop or walking to work this morning or school or what have you can testify to that, because it is just one of those days where you need an extra layer. But, good news is we're sort of drying out and warming up, and I use the term warming up loosely here, as we head into the weekend, 17 Thursday and Friday. Bit of cloud around, so you can't rule out a shower Friday, maybe on Saturday. You'd be unlucky, though. 17 degrees Saturday and Sunday too. So 17 is a magic number, really, and there's a slight chance of showers Monday and Tuesday, but we'll have a bit more to talk about that when we get a bit closer to it, guys.
Great stuff. Good on you, Amelia. Amelia Mulcahy from 7 News. 4 to 8, John Blake in a moment.
Hey, it's Mark Bickley. For 20 years, the team at Jarvis Toyota has been helping South Australian families keep that "oh, what a feeling" feeling. Over that time, Jarvis has put their support behind Variety, the children's charity, as platinum sponsor of the Variety 4-wheel drive adventure. And they've got plenty more support to give. If you're about to rediscover the road, make sure you take a proper test drive from the range at Jarvis Toyota. South Road, Clovelly Park, proudly celebrating 20 years of support in 2021.
Don't just get a forklift.
Don't miss the Toyota Forklift Stacks and Jacks sale. Get hot deals across a range of new Toyota walkie stackers and electric pallet jacks. Plus receive a free Caltex Star Cash card up to the value of $500. The Toyota Forklift Stacks and Jacks sale. On now. Call 1-800-425-438 or toyotamaterialhandling.com.au.
Get a Toyota forklift.
T's and C's apply. Private buyers only. Offer ends August 31.
Now, the globe might be warming. I'm certainly not trying to suggest that I'm a climate change sceptic or denier or anything like that. But I tell you what, at the moment, it feels like we're in the middle of the next ice age, Will.
Oh, exactly right. So when the temperature plummets this winter, make sure you fit yourself out with very cosy and warm heat holders, socks, beanies, gloves and accessories. This is one occasion where I wish they'd send a few in for us to wear right now.
Yeah, totally. For
like all day.
Like a full bodysuit.
I'd wear everything they got.
Like a onesie.
I put 2 of everything on.
A heat holder onesie. That'd be good. Well, you can actually sort of get the same effect if you just wear socks, beanies, gloves and accessories all at the same time.
Yep.
Now, look, heat holders, if you're not familiar with their work, their mission, just get onto it because it's sensational. They're making life warmer for all South Australians and their families who enjoy all things outdoors, like walking the dog, watching the footy. Would have come in handy last Saturday at the Collingwood game.
Yeah.
Bit brisk.
Wasn't the raw excitement of the match that kept you warm, I can tell.
Oh, no, not at all. Now, look, they've got an amazing range. This is your line, Will, but I'll do it anyway.
Okay.
Heat holders have an amazing range of socks, gloves, beanies, blankets and accessories, and they're popular with everyone of all age groups.
Well, I can tell you're just so excited. That's what it is. You're so excited. Heat holders, they're making life warmer. Get them on ya. Get them on ya at your Drake supermarkets and selected retailers.
So, you've got a will. But is your estate plan in place?
What if you lose capacity to manage your financial affairs or to make medical or health decisions? What happens then? Who gets your superannuation? Who controls the family trust? From the simplest to the most complex wills and estate plans, Donlan Lawyers can answer your questions and help carry out your wishes. Wills and estate planning? Visit donlanlawyers.com. That's donlanlawyers.com.
For most business PC brands, a 4-hour service guarantee means they'll call you back in 4 hours. But at Leader Computers, a 4-hour service guarantee on Leader's business range means they'll come to your worksite and have you back in business inside 4 hours. Leader Computers are local, made here in Adelaide with better service, better support and speedy turnaround times. Live life local. Live life Leader. Leader Computers. Find your local dealer at leadersystems.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
8 o'clock, not far away. Breaking at 8 thereafter. Then Tom Duday from the Adelaide Football Club. But first, it's time for John Blake, thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight, distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
Hello?
Hello, former Premier J.
What the hell were you thinking?
Sorry, what?
In this day and age, Tom.
What are you talking about, former Premier J?
You? Are you insane?
Of course I'm not insane.
I read your tweet, Tom.
Oh, yeah, I'll tell you what, there's fighting going on in the Liberal Party. Oh, they're falling apart.
Yes, Tom, but in this day and age, starting off a tweet by saying shots fired at Liberal Party HQ is probably not a good idea.
Well, it's just a dramatic way of getting people's attention, that's all.
Well, why not just say Parliament House burnt down? That'll get their attention.
Oh, no, but actually, that's not a bad idea.
Tom, you could be accused of causing panic. I had to read your tweet twice just to make sure there hadn't been a real shooting.
Well, I was just talking about the fact that some senior Liberals are referring to Christians in the party as the Taliban, and I wanted to make it dramatic.
You sure did, but you're leaving yourself open to attack, Tom.
Who from?
Everybody.
Oh, whatever. Hey, looking forward to the game on Thursday night, former PVJ.
Yeah, should be good. I'm glad it's going ahead.
How do you think the Power will go against Geelong?
I don't know. It'll be a good stoush, though.
Oh, it sure will be a good battle.
Yep.
I'm going to watch the game. If the Power wins by a lot, I might tweet something.
No, I wouldn't.
Something like, murder has happened at Adelaide Oval.
No, don't do that.
The entire Geelong football team has been killed by Port Adelaide.
It'll be misunderstood.
I'm just trying to get their attention.
Now, that's a real stoush that played out on Twitter between John Blake and Tom Koutsintonis. The source of that. They had a real debate about that very tweet. You can go back and read the source material for
The
yourself.
real Blakey and the real Coots.
The real Blakey and the real Coots. Had the debate about that very thing.
Did they get on well, do you think?
I don't know. What? I mean, maybe it was friendly banter.
Who knows?
Tom Koutsintonis did make the point that he didn't think John Blake was in the business of trying to be politically correct about everything. That's true. Yeah. All right, it's 5AA News Time, breaking at 8 coming up.
Online, on DAB Digital Radio and on 1395 AM. Talking Adelaide. This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 14 today with the 8 o'clock news. I'm Mel Usher.
Physio Extra, your one-stop shop. Physio, Pilates, podiatry, massage, dietetics. For appointments, visit physioextra.com.
Further details have been revealed about Operation Ironside, including a foiled assassination plot. Kendall Brettig reports.
A plan to murder a suspected police informant on the parade at Norwood was uncovered during the covert operation. Police allege members of the Comancheros conspired to kill the man by gunning him down with a machine gun after he was lured to a cafe. The plot was foiled when the gun and two full 32 shell magazines were found hidden in a park at Rostrevor. Detectives have arrested and charged 5 men with conspiracy to murder. They're among 47 people arrested as part of the wider operation, which has seen more than $1.8 million in cash and millions of dollars worth of drugs seized, along with luxury cars, boats, clothes and jewellery.
A car went into the Southwark Hotel at Theberton last night. It slammed into the pub on the corner of Port Road and Phillip Street just after 10:30. No one was hurt. The 24-year-old male driver has been reported for driving without due care. The SES attended boarding up the damage. Melbourne's fourth lockdown is expected to lift as planned at midnight tomorrow, but there will still be several restrictions in place. Nine's Christina Hearn reports.
State government ministers met with health officials last night with the details to be announced later today. According to several reports, there'll be a 25-kilometre restriction put in place to prevent Melburnians fleeing to the regions for the long weekend. Cafes and restaurants will have a 50-person limit. Schools will reopen for all grades, but gyms will remain closed. Masks will still be mandatory indoors. There'll be no visitors allowed in your home and public gatherings capped at 10 people. Essentially, it will be what occurred in regional Victoria last week as they came out of lockdown. Those restrictions will ease even further tomorrow at midnight.
An internet outage last night crashed news, commerce and social media sites around the world. The issue is linked to American computing services provider Fastly, which reported a problem with its contact delivery networks. MIT is celebrating a decade as the world's best university. The Massachusetts Institute of Technology once again topping the latest global rankings. But Harvard has dropped out of the top 3, falling to number 5. Australian universities fared better than in previous years. The ANU is the highest ranked local institution at 27th. A British police officer has admitted to the kidnapping and rape of 33-year-old Sarah Everard, who went missing while walking in South London. Nine's Ben Avery reports.
Appearing in London's Central Criminal Court via video link, Police Constable Wayne Cousins pleaded guilty to the charges of kidnap and rape of Sarah Everard in March of this year. The crime had sparked anger and protests around the world. The victim, a marketing executive, disappearing while walking home in the London suburb of Clapham, her body found a week later in Woodland in Kent. The court heard Cousins also accepted responsibility for her death, but he is yet to enter a plea to murder. The next plea hearing will take place on July 9.
Prince Charles has described the birth of the Duke and Duchess of Sussex's daughter as happy news. Lilibet Diana Mountbatten Windsor's birth in California was announced on Monday. The Prince of Wales referencing the arrival while speaking at a production plant for cars.
Development of technology like electric vehicles is vital for maintaining the health of our world for future generations. Something I'm only too aware of today, having recently become a grandfather for the 5th time.
The French president has been slapped in the face while visiting the country's south. A person in the crowd took a swipe at Emmanuel Macron during a meet and greet. The footage has gone viral. Now turning to 5AA Sport.
Who loves South Australia as much as you do? Fluorio Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it.
Here's Tom Wren.
Thank you, Mel. Port Adelaide's players will hit the training track in the next couple of hours as they prepare for tomorrow night's huge match against Geelong. The Power will have to replace Orazio Fantasia, who had surgery last week to repair a knee injury. The teams for Port and the Cats will be released tonight. Well, Taylor Walker's in some doubt for Saturday night's match against St Kilda with a knee issue, while defender Luke Brown has already been ruled out with Achilles soreness. The injury hit Saints, though, are facing the prospect of entering the match with only 25 available players and a reduced emergency list. To tennis, Alexander Zverev has reached the semi-finals of a tennis major for the 3rd time in his career and the first at the French Open. He crushed Spaniard Alejandro Davidovich Fokina in straight sets, dropping just 6 games for the entire match. Zverev says he's finally starting to feel comfortable at majors.
I think for young guys, it is a learning curve. And I think, hopefully I can say that slowly but surely I'm starting to get the hang of it.
He'll take on Stefanos Tsitsipas, who just beat Daniil Medvedev in straight sets. To the NBL, the Brisbane Bullets have recorded a 94-84 point win against South East Melbourne to end the minor round. Melbourne United will now take on the Phoenix in the playoffs, while Perth will come up against Illawarra. And a couple of Aussies are in NBA playoff action again today. Ben Simmons to suit up for Philly against Atlanta, while Joe Ingles will be playing for Utah against the LA Clippers. And State of Origin will head to a regional centre for the first time tonight when the Blues and Maroons kick off the series in Townsville. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles, now at Dave Potter.
At Stirling, look out for a car v barrier. That's on Sturt Valley Road near Heath Road. It's in a dangerous spot on the road, so take some care. Busy on the drive in a few spot. Para Hills, McIntyre Road, Bridge Road to the Golden Way as you're heading towards Modbury. South Plimpton busy. That's Beckman Street, Cross Road to Anzac Highway, Citybound. Mitcham also busy too. Maitland Street, Carrick Hill Drive to Blythewood Road. That's outbound. And look out for speed cameras today. George Street, Norwood, Military Road, Taparoo. Get more time with Woolworths Direct to Boot. Shop online and Woolworths will handpick your order, then place your shopping directly into your boot. Select locations, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
A shower or two today, 14. Partly cloudy tomorrow, 17. Partly cloudy Friday, 17. Right now it's 7 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
In the last hour on Adelaide's 5AA.
This is such a good Revenge of the Nerd story, because the IT guys who came up with this were probably the ones who were being teased as, 55-pound weaklings by these steroid-munching bullfeds when they were teenagers, and they got their comeuppance through just a really intelligent and methodical person who sat down and said, I reckon we can catch him with this app.
Yeah, it's extraordinary.
This guy, just a smart person, outsmarted these dopes.
80 properties raided, 47 people arrested between SAPOL and the AFP. It's time to go round the courts with Sean Fuster.
I think the thing for me with defamation, you've got to remember that when you go on Facebook, you're stepping into another world, because it's not just, I said that on Facebook. When you step to a certain level, you go past it being just your opinion or just an argument. You are actually risking blackmail, defamation, harassment. People got to think about that before they publish anything.
You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
10 after 8, breaking 8 coming up in just a moment. We've been in touch with SAPOL. Tomorrow on the program, we're going to be joined live in the studio by Peter Harvey, the Assistant Commissioner of SAPOL, and Erica Mirren, the Commander at the AFP, about Operation Ironside, this incredible sting that's dominated the news, dominated conversation, and played out in Adelaide at 5:30 on Monday morning, where, as you just heard, some 47 people arrested, 80 properties raided. It is one of the more incredible crime-busting stories you're ever going to hear, and you're going to hear it in detail that you won't hear anywhere else tomorrow morning on 5AA Breakfast. Now, the other thing we've done some digging around for you this morning is with regard to the impending announcement out of Victoria with regard to the restrictions there. They're going to change as of Friday, where the lockdown will end, albeit with some conditions, the biggest probably being the 25k travel maximum distance from your home if you're a Victorian. The idea they're trying to stop is people travelling out to the regions for the Queen's Birthday long weekend. But school will return, things will open, albeit with restrictions on how many people can go to pubs and restaurants and whatnot. Number of questions from listeners saying, what does that mean for South Australian residents that want to come home, or people that are over there that want to come to SA? What have we been told?
We have been told that at this stage, the Transition Committee isn't scheduled to meet this week. The next meeting is Tuesday next week. However, we are monitoring the situation. Like we've said since day one, we don't want to have any restriction in place for one day longer than we have to. That was from a spokeswoman in the Premier's office who spoke to our producer, Andy. You would have to think, though, that if they're monitoring the situation, as they say that they are, and they clearly are, we can't have a situation where our Transition Committee doesn't actually respond this week to significant changes in the arrangements in Victoria. That would look like the pretty sluggish bureaucracy if we say, oh no, the meeting's not till next week. I mean, there's South Australians who, I mentioned one of my mates, his sister's meant to be coming over this weekend to see her ailing parents, and there'll be thousands of people in similar positions, people who can't run their businesses, like the piggery guy who told us the other day, well, it's nice for Collingwood, but I'm not allowed to go to Victoria to visit my farms.
They may, perhaps they just don't want to...
Right on the very, very western edge of Victoria, where there's been no cases of coronavirus ever.
Ludicrous.
In all of recorded human history.
They may not want to premeditate the Victorian announcement, which has been, the media's well aware of what it's going to be, but maybe the state government here are just trying to honour the privilege of the information they've received, and they'll make a more forceful statement later today, because you'd imagine a corresponding announcement of what the Victorian government would make would make total sense. There's no need to wait.
Yeah.
13 after 8. Let's get to breaking at 8.
There's a couple of potentially thorny pre-selection issues that the SA Liberal Party has to deal with, which could present a bit of a headache and have the potential to ignite a bit of factional conflict. The first involves the now independent member for Waite, Sam DeLuc, who is awaiting judgment in the assault trial involving independent MLC Connie Benares. Now, that trial panned out in a very interesting fashion last week, and we're certainly not attempting to prejudge whatever conclusions the magistrate in the case draws. The clock is ticking on that. It's now 4.5 weeks until the scheduled delivery of the judgment. Now, I've spoken to people in Sam DeLuc's seat who remain fiercely loyal to him and believe that if he is acquitted, there is no reason why he should not run as the Liberal candidate for Waite at next year's election. Now, that would jar somewhat with the fairly emphatic comments the Premier made late last year, where he said that he felt that Sam DeLuc had not been upfront with him and that there'd been this drip feed of information about what did or didn't happen at the Christmas party. The Premier seemed to be saying at the time that he was of the view that, almost setting aside whatever happens in a court of law, that his behaviour was inconsistent with Liberal values and that there was no place for him in the Liberal Party anymore. Well, that is certainly not the view of a majority of the members of Sam DeLuc's branch, and in the quite possible scenario that he's acquitted, that's got the potential to turn into a real stink. The other problem for the Libs to grapple with right now involves Fraser Ellis, the York Peninsula MP, who is now also, as of February, when he was charged with 23 counts of deception following the ICAC investigation over the country members allowance, charges which, it should be stressed, he emphatically denies. He denies all 23 of those charges and has indicated through statement to Parliament at 2 a.m. in the morning back in February that he intends to fight every single one of them and is confident that he'll get off. So his trial isn't listed until November, which is kicking us right up to the cusp of next year's state election. Now, there's moves within the Libs to have a pre-selection. Interestingly, in Waite, they've delayed it until after the judgment in the Benares assault trial. But in the seat of Narungga, there are moves to install a chap by the name of Ryan Story.
Former Dick Johnson racing boss.
That's right, into the seat. Well, Fraser Ellis is very much of the view that, hang on a minute, I'm facing charges which I say I'm innocent of and I may yet beat. So am I going to have this seat stripped off me on account of having a legal threat hanging over my head that I'm confident I will emerge from with my reputation intact and no criminal record? So given the extent to which the Marshall government's numbers on the floor have been reduced with these two men having to become independents pending their legal troubles, it puts the Liberals in a somewhat difficult position in two seats which they would normally be taking to the bank. They're two headaches that they don't want at a pretty delicate time.
17 after 8, we're going to check traffic, and then Tom Duday is going to join us live in the 5AA Breakfast Studio. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter Honda.
In the city this morning, we've got malfunctioning traffic lights at Frome Street near Wakefield Street. Take some caution around there. Busy for the drive into Glandore, South Road, School Avenue to Everard Avenue as you're driving towards Mile End. Getting busy, Para Hills, McIntyre Road, Bridge Road to the Golden Way as you're heading towards Modbury. And South Plympton busy this morning, Beckman Street, Crossroad to Anzac Highway, that's city-bound. Speed cameras to look out for, Military Road, Taparoo, and North Street at Henley Beach. Have you been dreaming of an Audi? Now you can turn your dreams into a reality with the Audi End of Financial Year event. On now at your preferred Audi dealer. Terms and conditions apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Rowie Sports Show.
AFL great Adam Goodes, he's not back in induction into the Australian Football Hall of Fame. He's actually a legend of the game, one of the greatest to have ever played. And sadly, we, and I put myself in this, drove him out of it. People just didn't want to hear what he had to say. I think that's what it come down to.
4 p.m. weekdays.
This is a man of real principle and conviction. Now that I look back now, good on him.
Rowie Sports Show on 5AA.
Don't wait for spring to get cleaning. This cooler weather's perfect for spending time at home decluttering. And by donating your quality clothing and homewares to Vinnie's, you can feel good about letting them go, because profits from their sale will help people doing it tough in our community. You could even say that Vinnie's are compassion converters, transforming your pre-loved treasures into a hand up for people who need it. Find out where to donate at vinnies.org.au/shops.
Wrap up warm, pack up the car and hit the road. It's time to beat the winter blues and book your next getaway. With the help of SA Weekend Escapes, make the most of this South Australian winter. Discover new destinations, rediscover old, find things to do, places to see, and uncover our latest hotel offers. This winter, stay at one of 10 participating SA hotels and receive a complimentary bottle of red to warm up your trip. Find out more at saweekendescapes.com.au. Holiday here this year.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, and even more so with their end of financial year sale on all certified cars. They currently have SA's largest selection of all makes and models, with a balance of factory warranty on selected models and free 3-year Steinborner certified warranty on SUVs and passenger cars. That's massive value at Steinborner Automotive with their end of financial year sale. Hurry, ends June 30. Steinborner Holden, well worth the trip for 37 years. Steinborner.com.au.
No one wants to spend their weekend in emergency. So if you hurt yourself on a Saturday or Sunday, Dr. Greg Keane says come and see SportsMed instead.
The doctors at our weekend injury clinic can treat any sporting or orthopaedic injuries right away. You won't have to wait all afternoon.
And a standard consult costs less than a private hospital emergency department, right?
Much less.
World-class care without the wait. SportsMed.
Start living life again after your injury.
Sportsmed.com.au.
For a limited time only, get up to a big $1,000 gift card at Harvey Norman when you buy on interest-free. That's right, up to a big $1,000 bonus gift card. Shop for furniture, bedding, electrical, technology and more. Buy on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to a big $1,000. Minimum finance $1,000, 60 equal monthly payments. Interest applies if you do not comply with terms and conditions. Fees, exclusions apply. Limited time only. Now at Harvey Norman.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide. With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
– 21 minutes after 8.
I'm the dude, so that's what you call me, you know? That or his dudeness or duder or, El Duderino if you're not into the whole brevity thing.
Thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC server and manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide, straight out of rehab. Not rehab, straight out of, what's the wrong term of phrase? Straight out of quarantine. Sorry, I wasn't meant to say that, Tommy.
Yeah, that was between us. I told you before the
sorry
show
about that, mate. Straight out of quarantine.
Straight out of rehab.
Straight out of rehab. No, you've been out for ages. When did you get out of quarantine?
Well, technically last night, but it was late last night, so I was asleep when we got the message to say Collingwood had got all their tests back and they come back all clear. So really it was this morning. I woke up, texted Andy and said, I'm good to come in, mate.
So what did you do for your 2 days?
I'm a bit behind on a uni assignment, so I've just been trying to knuckle down on that, but my computer's busted, so that sort of threw that out. So watched a little bit of TV and movies and went to the club to train. That was about it. Wasn't too exciting.
What are you studying?
Comms and media. So,
right.
yeah, coming for your job, Pemba.
Oh, mate.
Trying to, anyway.
You're going to get up at 5 o'clock every morning and welcome to it.
To be honest, when it's this cold, I struggle to get out of bed no matter what. So maybe not. Maybe I'll go for the drive home.
So what did that mean?
We won't do a straight job swap either. She'd just reassure Crows fans.
Oh yeah, haven't you run around in the defensive 50? Actually, no, just once maybe once at the end of the season. I'd like to see.
I used to play back pocket.
Did you?
High, 1983.
Really? Lockdown, or did you run off and sort of try and crowd?
No, I used to just sort of generally hide.
Okay.
Wait for the ball to spill out and hopefully come in my direction. I was like a seagull. Won't have a chip thrown at me.
That is not surprising at all, is it?
What happened to you blokes, though? What happened? I was there. It was just... I mean, I don't want to give you a spray on live.
No, go for it, mate. No, go viral. Give me a coach spray. No,
there needs kicking training.
Yeah, I don't think it. To be honest, I don't think it's kicking training. I think the goal kicking was a one-off. That hasn't been a trend for us. We've been pretty accurate there. Besides, I think it was the Sydney game we talked about it early on. But
I meant more like the turnovers.
The turnover stuff was more. It's not necessarily skill-based in my mind. It's more just a composure thing. It was playing on when the pressure was on, or a couple of handballs. With the handball first puts us under pressure, and then that kick, instead of just going long and taking our whatever you call it, and then ended up defending behind it, we actually ended up trying to pull these kicks off that probably weren't there for the game sense because the pressure was on, and outside of the first quarter we did that all right.
So
yeah, that's true.
Were they then, when you went back and watched the tape, were they turnovers of all your own making, or is it a byproduct of the tempo that Collingwood plays at, where it's slow and they're getting numbers back behind the ball?
No, it was the first quarter we come in with a clear game plan and we didn't play to it. That's why it was 5-1, and they had all the ball, they had all the possession. That was more, the turnovers were more just a bit of early on in the game. We probably didn't make the right decision, and then later on when we turned the ball over, I think it was in the third quarter a little bit. That was more just, we were a little bit down and we just thought, let's try and take this on and get going. And that wasn't a team mindset. It was more just individuals, and the way that we played was just, I don't know, it was sort of, we felt like we needed to do something extra when we really didn't, because the way that we were playing in the second and in the fourth ended up working. So it was just a change in mindset that was probably not the best interest of the team, and we copped it for it.
How much does it change your build up for this week, having missed 2 days where you haven't been able to train and do all these sorts of things?
We were granted exemption. We were allowed to go into the club.
Okay, so if you were all together, it was okay.
Yeah, so SANFL boys were separate, SANFL staff were separate, and AFL boys just had to. So we pretty much drove in, put our masks on, got into the facilities, and then did our flush run and all that stuff. So we have been able to train a little bit. We haven't just been in pure lockdown.
So it's a game this weekend, then a bye, isn't it?
Yep, correct.
So did you get to hang around in Cairns a bit? Because it'd be a nice spot to be at this time of year.
Yeah, you can. Yeah, you can.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, you can go. We can do what we please for our 4-day break. It's obviously advised you don't travel to Victoria, because that's that wouldn't be in the best interest of you as an AFL player. But it's you can hang around Cairns. You can come back to beautiful South Australia. You can do whatever you please.
Yeah. So Kazali Stadium's the ground there, isn't it?
Is it? I'm not familiar with the proud history of Cairns football, unfortunately.
They play a few Gold Coast games up there.
Yeah.
It's right near the sea. It's just near the marina on the northern part of town. I think.
You exchanged any messages with Brad Crouch yet this week? Does anyone do that? Does that happen in modern footy?
I would say that if his brother was playing, they'd be starting to lip early, I reckon.
Yep.
But no, I'm not sure. I know he's got a few of the boys, Cito and Tex, really got along with him, so I'd say they'd be sending him a little bit. But I'd say when it comes to game day, I don't reckon there'd be too much in that regard. But if Matt was playing, I'd be worried there would be fists thrown, and there would be some old school brother on brother fighting going on.
Is there any ill? I mean, Brad Crouch is very fresh and doesn't sound like there's any ill feeling there. But I always talked to Stephen Rowe back in the day. If anyone left a footy club, I mean, you just about cut them off. The culture was so different then. It seems like there's not much of that around these days. Is that the case? Is there any animosity to players that choose to not be a part of what you're doing any longer?
No, I don't think so. I think it is a change in generation. There's that, obviously, the American sports, it's everyone goes wherever they want to go. It's player driven, and you grow up playing with these blokes in different competitions, and then when you get to a club, it's like, well, you're really only in this industry for a finite amount of time. So it's like you got to do what's in the best interest for you, and that was the situation with Brad, and I'm sure when it comes to if there's a ground ball between him and a Tex or someone, or him or me, or we're just going to go at it as if it's another player. But no, there's no animosity in that regard.
Was there any COVID-related chat with the Collingwood guys out there on the field last week?
No, actually, no, there wasn't. Not that I had. I didn't have any. There might have been, but I was sort of just in the back of my mind going, I hope you don't have COVID. It sounds pretty simple, but there is a little bit of just like, I'm gathering you don't, but maybe if you did, it would do a lot of damage to our team.
Well, even the advice to us as spectators was don't touch the ball.
Yeah,
and if you do, wash your hands immediately.
One of the balls went out on the floor, and I had to reach over and grab it. And the crowd was hilarious. They were all like, don't touch it, don't touch it. They're like hands up behind their head. They're like, Tommy, don't touch it. You'll get like COVID. It was just like it was almost as if it was the plague was attached to the ball, and the way that it bounced around, they all just let it hit the chairs, and it was nearly hit him in the face.
Well, not having the two rows around the ground, mate, it looked like you were playing in a giant petri dish. It was like, all right, let them kick around the COVID.
An apt analogy, Will.
Yeah, well, that's
given the viral nature of the game.
Glad to hear you got the all clear. You're out of quarantine and not rehab.
We're out and good. I don't have to worry about sitting at home anymore. And
you had two tests,
rehab, as you said.
Just
the one, yeah.
I was going to say straight after the game.
Straight after. No, they gave us a 48-hour incubation period because they didn't want to test us, and then it pops up later on, as can happen with the old COVID. So yeah, we got a little.
How many
bit of time.
tests have you had so far?
Oh, in total, I reckon I'd be at 50 by now. We had two a week all season last year, and
I've only had it done once.
Yeah, right.
Only one.
Yep.
Yeah,
I had one when I went to... Yeah.
You've had none. I've had none.
Yeah.
I'd say when I went up to Goldie in the off-season, and we come from Adelaide. Adelaide had the outbreak, and we had to quarantine up in Gold Coast, and the nurse comes over to us and goes, g'day guys, how you going? Like, have you had this done before? I was like, yeah, I reckon I've had about 40. And she just stopped and looked at me. She went, how many times have you been sick? And I was like, oh, sorry, no, I play footy. And because I don't think rugby were doing that many, so she didn't understand. She didn't even care about footy. She thought I'd just been sick 40 times over a calendar year. She thought I'd got COVID that many times.
You got addicted to it. Yeah. Like, I'm going to due for another test. Well, all the best. Enjoy the weekend, enjoy the weather, and then enjoy your break afterwards, mate. Be good to catch up with you next time.
Go on,
forward to it. Thanks, guys.
Thanks to Leader Computers, Australia's largest PC and server manufacturer, built and serviced right here in Adelaide. Mark Bigley sent a text in saying, it's a bit rough when Tom's computer breaks, and he's sponsored by Leader Computers in this segment. I mean, what's going on?
Clearly not a Leader computer.
Yeah, that's
we
exactly
might have
right.
a word to them about that.
Yeah, exactly. We've got to fix him up.
Exactly.
Well, actually, no, it's not in our interest for him to get a media degree, is it? Actually, no. Stick with what you got.
Because whistling is what Alice does, she sounds like this. And because home loans are what we do at Rams, we know all there is to know about getting you into a new home. Talk to the home loan specialists. Search Rams Home Loans today.
Credit criteria, fees, charges, terms and conditions apply.
Ready? Here we go. Mawson Lakes Mazda's end of financial year clearance is on now. Not the first clearance we've done, but let me tell you, there's never been one like this. The prices are way low, but the choices are so high. We've got hundreds in stock, so chances are you'll get your dream model in the colour you're after. Grab an end of financial year price on the car you've been waiting for. Mawson Lakes Mazda, just a short drive from the city, Salisbury Highway.
Now, here's a question, David. It has certainly affected our old mate here. He's had 59 various COVID tests. Have COVID-19 restrictions impacted your fitness, the services you receive, or your ability to stay connected with family, friends, or your community, or perhaps someone you know has been affected? Well, aged care provider ACH Group, who we're delighted to have with us here in the FIVEaa Breakfast Studio this morning, just tremendous, in partnership with the Adelaide Primary Health Network, have free health and wellbeing packages available.
Now, these are absolutely fantastic. If you or someone you know is aged over 65 or aged over 55, for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander folks, and you live in metropolitan Adelaide, you may qualify for a package that will be tailored to meet your individual needs.
Yeah, this makes a lot of sense for people to do. Over a 6-week period, package recipients will be connected with health professionals and services to do a whole range of really important things. Things like improving your physical activity, regaining and maintaining independence, building and strengthening social connections, and supporting access to technology for online and virtual connection. It is worth your while to find out more. And to do that, it's simple. All you need to do is go to achgroup.org.au, achgroup.org.au.
This is Adelaide's 5AA.
A shower or two and 14 today with the 8:30 news. I'm Mel Usher.
The X in Physio Extra stands for extra time, extra care, extra convenience, with 6 locations. Visit physioextra.com.
More concerning details have been revealed through Operation Ironside, including a plot to gun down a man on the parade at Norwood with a machine gun. The hit was foiled when the gun and 2 full 32 shell magazines were found hidden in a park at Rostrevor. 5 men have been charged with conspiracy to murder over the alleged assassination plot. They're among 47 people arrested as part of the wider operation, which has seen more than $1.8 million in cash and millions of dollars worth of drugs seized, along with luxury cars, boats, clothes, jewellery and wine. The Southwark Hotel at Theberton is looking a little worse for wear. Senior Constable Kylie Simpson says a car crashed into the pub on the corner of Port Road and Phillip Street just after 10:30 last night.
Thankfully, the driver of the car and patrons inside the pub weren't injured. SES attended and assisted with boarding up the damage. The driver, a 24-year-old man from Thorngate, submitted to an alco test and returned a reading of 0.
He's been reported for driving without due care and will be summoned to front court at a later date. SA's 17th attempt to legalise euthanasia will go before the lower house today for a final vote. The bill would allow terminally ill people to access drugs, allowing them to end their lives. The legislation includes 70 safeguards and is modelled on Victorian law. Victoria has recorded 1 new COVID case today. It's linked to the current outbreak and the person has been quarantining during their infectious period. Melbourne's lockdown is expected to be lifted from midnight tomorrow, but a 25-kilometre travel limit is tipped to be enforced. The state opposition says there's no reason why a limit is needed if the Andrews government has confidence in contact tracing. The opposition will be introducing a private member's bill into Parliament today to ensure public health advice is released if the government imposes another lockdown. Opposition leader Michael O'Brien says Victorians deserve to know the basis on which decisions are being made.
If QR codes are working, if contact tracing is working, why is there that 25-kilometre limit?
Australians who've been fully vaccinated against COVID-19 can access a digital certificate to prove it. The certificates are being issued through Medicare accounts and can be saved to a mobile phone. Hard copies are also expected to be available. The Prime Minister is pushing for reform of the world's key trade body as Australia considers taking further action against China. Nine's Michael Packey has more.
Renovating the World Trade Organisation will form a key theme of a speech to be delivered by Scott Morrison in Perth today. The PM says the body must be able to have the power not only to consider disputes, but actually enforce its rulings. Australia is currently taking China to the WTO after imposing unfair tariffs on barley imports and is considering doing the same over wine. Mr Morrison's foreign policy speech comes ahead of his trip to the UK, where Australia will take part in a meeting with the world's top 7 economies. COVID will dominate the talks, including recovery from the pandemic, finding out more about its origins and dealing with future outbreaks.
Now turning to 5AA Sport.
3 words make a big difference to our local dairy farmers. Flurio Milk Company. In your supermarket now.
And some Crows news, Tom Wren.
Yeah, absolutely, Mel. Adelaide's players officially out of quarantine after getting the all clear from health officials. Defender Tom Duday telling David and Will it was a welcome message to wake up to this morning.
Well, technically last night, but it was late last night, so I was asleep when we got the message to say Collingwood have got all their tests back and they come back all clear. So really it was this morning. I woke up, texted Andy and said, I'm good to come in, mate.
The Crows take on St Kilda on Saturday night. The match to remain in Cairns as scheduled. Port Adelaide takes on Geelong tomorrow night. The teams for that match to be revealed late this afternoon. To tennis, Greek star Stefanos Tsitsipas has beaten Daniil Medvedev in straight sets in their quarter-final match at the French Open. In a bizarre end to the match, Medvedev admitted attempting to underarm a serve on match point backfired.
It didn't work out at all. He had an easy ball to finish. He made it. Tactical, and I won't say it was a mistake. It was something that I dared to do. And just maybe next time I won't do it, knowing that he's ready.
Tsitsipas will take on Alexander Zverev in the semis. And all eyes will be on Townsville tonight for Origin 1, the match to be played between New South Wales and Queensland. And that's the 5AA Sport.
Now checking 5AA traffic.
Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive driven vehicles now at Dave Potter.
We've got lights out this morning in the city at Frome Street near Wakefield Street. Take some caution if you're around there. Busy on the drive in at Glandore, South Road, School Avenue to Everard Avenue as you're driving towards Mile End. Para Hill's also busy. McIntyre Road, Bridge Road to the Golden Way. That's as you're heading towards Modbury. And South Plimpton busy this morning. Beckman Street carrying a fair bit of load. Cross Road to Anzac Highway as you're heading into the city. Cameras to look out for today. Jeffcott Street, North Adelaide and Semaphore Road at Exeter. Queensland's balmy winters are good to go. Book 5 nights on the Gold Coast from just $599 at myqueensland.com.au. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Now the 5AA forecast.
Switch and save on car service and repairs with Service Now Pay Later options. Call 1300 Automasters.
14 today, a shower or two, partly cloudy tomorrow 17. Right now it's 9 degrees. More news as it happens on 5AA.
Well, right now we're joined by Joe, who's going to talk about all things Arbor Vitae. With its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory properties, it is proving very popular. Isn't that right, Joe?
That's right, Lee. More and more people are experiencing the benefits of using Arbor Vitae, and it's just wonderful.
Can you talk us through what are the benefits that people are experiencing when they use Arbor Vitae?
Well, it does somewhat depend on which Arbor Vitae bottle is right for you. There's Arbor Vitae Health and Wellbeing Supplement, which may help maintain healthy blood glucose and cholesterol levels and support heart and cardiovascular health. And Arbor Vitae Joint Health, which may provide relief from the symptoms of mild arthritis. So we're talking joint pain, inflammation, soreness, stiffness, and mobility.
Hey, Joe, now it's winter. Arbor Vitae may help to improve your immune function?
Yes, you're right, Lee. Your immune system is important to help fight colds and flu, and Arbor Vitae supports the health and function of your immune system.
Thanks so much for that, Joe. There you have it. Lots of benefits to using Arbor Vitae. You can find Arbor Vitae in chemists and health food stores all over Adelaide. Go to arborvitae.com.au for a full list of their stockists, or you can buy it online direct, or give the Arbor Vitae team a call on 1300 879 863. And remember, always follow the directions for use. This medicine may not be right for you. Read the label before purchase. If symptoms persist, talk to your health professional.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
21 minutes to 9. The Lord Mayor, Sandy Verschoor, live in the 5AA Breakfast studio. Get there in just a moment. First fuel watch, thanks to Dave Potter Honda. Still most expensive in the eastern suburbs. $1.36 is around the mark. Cheaper spots, $1.29 on the corner of Goodwood Road and Cross Road, $1.25 at the Caltex Broadview on Hampstead Road, $1.19 at the Mobile on Torrens Road and Kilkenny, $1.25 at the airport, and if you're in the hills, $1.25 in Mount Barker. Lord Mayor, good morning to you.
Good morning, how are you?
Good.
Thanks for joining us, Sandy Verschoor. Now, we thought we might just have a bit of a general chat about how our fair city is faring, sort of post-COVID. We're not really post-COVID. We're sort of hopefully in the tail end.
Well, we've been, I think everybody's said it. We are so lucky. We just have missed such a bullet, or a cannon, really. And, people here, I think a lot of people have just sort of, what I'm worried about is the complacency. Because we really haven't been hit by anything much, even at the start. And part of that is because the community were astonishing. They were so good in terms of, the restrictions and getting tested and everything they had to do. And I really hope people do the right thing and get the vaccine. So I had my first shot.
Yeah.
I get my second
AstraZeneca?
shot. Yeah, AstraZeneca.
Same. Where'd you go?
I went to the Adelaide Respiratory Clinic.
Oh, right, okay.
And I went there because I've had to have a couple of COVID tests and they were just fantastic. So.
Yeah.
And so that I could sort of lock it in rather than having to wait in a line. So.
Correct me if I'm wrong. What's the latest figures? I think I saw something. We're still down at least, is it 8% in terms of the city's population, like the working population?
Yeah, well, look, the best thing that anybody could do to bring the city back to life is really come back to work. And a lot of people have, and as government, at different levels of government, we've asked our people to come back, and that's made a huge difference. And of course there were losses because people weren't able to sustain themselves during those lockdown periods last year. But it actually has been travelling really well. And of course, some businesses are doing better than others, but we've also started to see a whole lot of new businesses opening, which is always a great sign. And the business confidence is up. So, you know, and at council we spent a lot of time last year was, you know, cleansing, hygiene regimes, all of that sort of stuff, and then actually kicking in behind in terms of recovery packages and how to reimagine the city. What does that look like? I think the original thought was that everybody's now going to work from home has passed. And everybody needs to come back. And it's also, we're social animals. It's very isolating working from home. And the productivity isn't what you think it's going to be.
Yeah.
No, I agree.
But what if we've reached the upper limit of people returning to work? And this is as good as it gets from now on. Is the city's economy sustainable at these levels?
I believe it is, but it has to change. So what we're really focusing on is what are the reasons to bring people back into the city, which have always been the reasons people love coming into the city, which is around festivals, arts, events, hospitality, food. You know, the culture in the city is astonishing, and people... I actually had the Capital City Council of Lord Mayors here, so all the Lord Mayors from around the country came here a few weeks ago, and they're just walking through going, oh my God, this is amazing. I went to 3 small bars on the way back to the hotel and I did this and I did this. And it's fantastic seeing your city through someone else's eyes. And the other thing, both Sydney and Melbourne came up to me quite, independently and said, your city is so clean. Oh my God, it's beautiful. And we forget how beautiful a place we live in. It really is quite astonishing. And our teams do amazing work. So, full credit to them.
What's the latest with the Central Market development? What's going on with all that? Is that...
Well, we're working...
Is there a timeline for it?
We do have a timeline, and we're within timeline. So what we do is we have milestones, and we're working to them. And what we decided is, because if Matt Coe, who's the Managing Director of ICD, who's our partner in this, we realised if we called it now, then we're going to completely disrupt Christmas. And so still keeping within the milestones for construction, we've decided to actually let the market trade through Christmas and that area, and then I'll start construction early next year, which would be great. Still looking to finish, I think, 2.5 years later. And in the meantime, we're working on, all the traffic management, redoing parking, making sure people can park across the road in the old bus station, making sure that trade continues in the Central Market. That's the biggest thing we're trying to protect.
And one other big building that has caused some consternation, although I note that both Phil Martin and Anne Moran attended the meeting but didn't say anything, which would probably mean that they're not going to get themselves in any strife. But some of the North Adelaide residents are firing up about the shadows that are going to be caused by the commercial and general building on the old Le Cornu site, and want it reduced from, I think, 15 stories to 8. Does the City Council have... is there a view that you have as Lord Mayor, or is there a council position in defence of the building continuing as envisaged?
My view is that it is a fantastic development. I know it's not going to make all the people happy all of the time. They've put a lot of work into the design. It's absolutely beautiful, and what they're doing in terms of the materiality, but also the flow. It will be quite an astonishing construction or building when it's finished. And, there's a reason why that site's been empty for more than 30 years. So this is us. We took control of it. We use it as a catalyst site. We've done our partnership. And I, for one, am really waiting for that to start, because I think people will love it. And we've had a huge amount of interest in it as well. It will be a beautiful place to live. Yeah. We had an amazing meeting last night, did a lot. It's really interesting that we don't get to talk about how much stuff we actually do in each meeting. So 18 reports, 9 motions, new toy library, Christmas action plan. We approve money for conservation, for heritage again. We've done a social procurement policy. We've done a City Connected promotional campaign. The community grants funds.
Does the Christmas plan involve that mangy old Father Christmas?
It doesn't at this stage. It involves bringing people to Christmas and having the best time they can possibly have. And we also are looking at a youth hub in the West End, which I think will be fantastic. And that came from these young people who study at Youth on Hindley Street, 17 to 24-year-olds, and they came to me through an open door and actually said, what we really need is a place for young people in the West End. And they'd even drawn plans, looked at a whole... They done a placemaking map of the entire of the West End, and so Councillor Knoll took the motion through last night. He's done a lot of work in this area for youth, and we worked together on this. So it's great.
Excellent.
So we now can have a look at that.
Is booze off the menu for councillors?
During meetings, yes.
Okay.
As it should be.
So was that what was resolved last night? Because I know it was just getting rid of booze before and after meetings was a conversation that was had as well.
Yeah, absolutely, and that's what was agreed last night. It is a workplace. It's a strange one because we're not employed by anybody.
Yeah.
You know, we're councillors, and but it is a workplace, and a lot of the things that we've actually brought in over the last couple of years is to actually make it more of a workplace for us, so that we abide by the same rules that everybody else should.
I find that weird that it was always the case that you could just rock up to a meeting and just start drinking.
State politics.
Yeah.
Parliament House.
Yeah.
We don't drink on air.
No.
It's not unusual.
We sold alcohol in air once.
Well, that's true.
Yeah, well, what's in that glass? I don't know. You know, those coffee cups don't fool me for a minute.
Some Chicago speakeasy in here. Get the bourbon served you in a little Wedgwood teacup.
So we're just really that's and you know as it should be, and it's just really putting things in our regulations, in our standing orders, so everybody knows what the rules are, and I think that's fair enough.
Seems totally appropriate. Lord Mayor, great to have you in.
Lovely to speak with you.
Good to see you.
The Lord Mayor, Sandy Verschoor. It's 13 minutes to 9. Let's check traffic for the last time this morning. Thanks to Dave Potter. Get a great end of financial year deal on used and executive-driven vehicles right now at Dave Potter.
Look over a smash at Davern Park. That's at Wammer Road and Peachy Road. In the city, traffic lights malfunctioning Frome Street near Wakefield Street. Getting busy for the drive in Medindi, Robe Terrace, Main North Road to Northcote Terrace as you're heading towards Norwood, and South Plimpton, Beckman Street, Crossroad to Anzac Highway. Quite busy, that's city bound. Speed cameras today, Fletcher's Road, Largs Bay, George Street, Norwood, and Military Road at Tabaroo. Need new tyres fast? Bo from Bow Repairs has you covered. Get fitted in 30 minutes or get a free tyre. Visit bowrepairs.com.au. Selected stores only, T's and C's apply. Adelaide's most accurate traffic on 5AA.
Older people have rights to make their own decisions, to be safe and to be treated with dignity and respect. But right now in Australia, 1 in 20 older people are experiencing some form of abuse. Fear, sadness and neglect can be signs of elder abuse. For free confidential advice or to make a report, call 1800 372 310. To find out more, search SA Health Stop Elder Abuse. Spot the signs, speak up, and help stop elder abuse. A message from the Government of South Australia.
G'day, it's Eddie May from NRG Solar. I'm no fortune teller, but if you don't have solar on your roof, I can tell you your next power bill is going to be huge. There's a price for keeping warm all winter, and you're about to pay it. Stop paying huge bills. Get in touch with NRG Solar, and from just $59 a fortnight, you could have a quality NRG solar system on your roof. From just $59 a fortnight, you could wipe out your power bills. Visit nrgsolar.com.au today.
Whether you're a sparky, a chippy, a fiery or a bikey. Whether they call you curly, tubby or tiny. Whether next door means a few feet or a few miles. We know the weather's harsh in South Australia. But Olympic Industries carports, verandas and sheds are tougher than most. And if they're strong enough in the country, they'll be strong enough in the city. For a limited time, you can save heaps across the entire range. Olympic Industries end of financial year sale. Built to last.
If you want to feel great about the milk you pour in your tea and coffee, over your cereal or in your smoothie, make sure it's from the Fleurieu Milk Company. Because it's a great feeling buying from people who love SA as much as you do. 3 words make all the difference. Fleurieu Milk Company. South Australian and proud of it. Whew, feel like a cuppa now.
Fleurieu Milk Company, celebrating 15 years of SA business. Fleurieumilkco.com.au.
Steinborner Automotive in Gawler, Barossa and Clare has always been well worth the trip, and even more so with their end of financial year sale on all certified cars. They currently have SA's largest selection of all makes and models, with a balance of factory warranty on selected models and free 3-year Steinborner certified warranty on SUVs and passenger cars. That's massive value at Steinborner Automotive with their end of financial year sale. Hurry, ends June 30. Steinborner Holden, well worth the trip for 37 years. Steinborner.com.au.
9 News, weeknights at 5, nightly at 6. The switch is on to the news that's live and local. 9 News, made in Adelaide.
Buy 3, get 1 free and instant cashback on top tyre brands at Bob Jane T-Marts. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
9 to 9. If you know someone who'd benefit from a new Windows 10 PC laptop, let us know. And maybe together with Leader Computers, we can help out. All you need to do is visit the 5AA win page and tell us in 25 words who should be awarded with a Leader Computer Windows 10 PC laptop and why. Maybe it's Tom Duday. Leader Computers are a national PC manufacturer, the largest 100% Australian PC brand. They're all built right here in Adelaide, which is why we love them. And that means you are supporting the local South Australian economy while also getting the best local service and support. If something does go wrong, you can speak to someone who is here in Adelaide.
That's right.
Speaking your South Australian language.
Yep.
So whether it's a friend or a school or maybe a sporting club that you'd like to nominate, just go to 5AA.com.au and let us know. Google Leader Computers to find your closest Leader reseller. Let's go behind closed doors. Thanks to Aussie Fast Transport Solutions, interstate freight distribution, warehousing and local Adelaide couriers. Call Aussie Fast 13 13 64.
And when we get behind closed
News and issues that matter to Adelaide. This is Leon Viner.
Good morning. Well, this morning we have a lot to get through. We'll be talking to someone from AEMO, and later on we'll be talking to ScoMo. We'll be talking to Rod Sims from the ACCC about businesses with CCTV, and we'll have someone on from Prospect Council Admin about picking up your rubbish bin. I think you'll find it interesting and nifty, quick and thrifty, and of course Corey Wingard from Dipty, which sadly has changed its name to DIT, which doesn't scan quite as well. Now, today we'll be talking about social media and the ongoing question of how it affects us and how we conduct our day-to-day lives, and I'm looking forward to this immensely because it strikes at the very heart of a lot of what we're going through lately, with people being outraged at perceived racism and inappropriate language, you know, the sort of thing, when in fact it might be nothing more than one person just taking the mick out of another person for no reason other than a cheap laugh. And who are we to say that's wrong? I mean, it might be just highlighting someone's mannerisms. And I mean, that's not outrageous, it's just parody. It's like making fun of one person's propensity for using metaphors. If you throw the baby out with the bathwater, then you're bound to end up a single parent. These people just have to be careful not to go overboard. Don't go overboard. No. And let's face it, if you're going to complain about that, then you better know where your bread's buttered, or you might just find that you're out of margarine. I think the point of all this is, what harm can a bit of parody and good-natured ribbing possibly do, apart from ruining an otherwise serious person's credibility?
La-ta-ta-ta-ta-ta, out the door does his credibility go.
Was that Blakey at the end, or was that Leon?
I think it was all both of them.
Yeah.
They've become
Remarkable.
one. They're one entity.
That's right.
6 to 9.
It's the little things that make a big difference to your day, like a thank you email from a colleague or a smile from a stranger on the train. And it can all start here with a healthy, delicious breakfast made with the goodness of Aussie-made Pura milk. It's got 8 essential nutrients and vitamins to kickstart your morning and set you up for the day ahead. So start your day the positive way with Pura.
Everybody's talking about Montane.
Hi, Miles Fitzner here, and everybody is talking about the Progressive Group Fleet Department at Montane, representing 7 of the top 10 vehicle brands in Australia: Ranger Ute, Hyundai i30, Kia Cerato, Mazda CX-5, plus many more fleet vehicle solutions. The Montane Fleet team is ready to assist your business requirements with amazing end of financial year offers. Call 8300 1200 today and ask for Aaron, the professional group fleet manager.
Everybody's talking about Montane.
BD 182170. For a limited time only, get up to a big $1,000 gift card at Harvey Norman when you buy on interest-free. That's right, up to a big $1,000 bonus gift card. Shop for furniture, bedding, electrical, technology and more. Buy on 60 months interest-free and receive a bonus gift card up to a big $1,000. Minimum finance $1,000, 60 equal monthly payments. Interest applies if you do not comply with terms and conditions. Fees, exclusions apply. Limited time only. Now at Harvey Norman.
You might think having thousands of pals is excessive, but that's not what the team at Parafield Airport Liquor Store think, because that's how many they have. Sure, they might be made up of over 100 gins, over 200 whiskies, over 300 craft beers, and over 2,000 boutique wines. But they're some of the best pals you could have, and they're always looking for more, even if they are tricky to track down. Parafield Airport Liquor Store.
Pals, next to Roulette's Tavern, Kings Road, Parafield.
With Australia's largest tyre range, Bob Jane T-Marts will look after you with their best tyre price guarantee. You're listening to 5AA Breakfast. David Penberthy and Will Goodings.
4 minutes to 9. Make sure you're listening tomorrow morning. Peter Harvey, the Assistant Commissioner at SAPOL, and Erica Mirren, the Commander of the AFP, will join us on the program to reveal some more details about this incredible sting operation that's led to arrests in 16 countries, nearly 1,000 arrests, and foiled a plot of a machine gun assassination in the Nord Parade. It's just
what an incongruous setting for such violence.
Yeah, certainly
the sort
is.
of thing you expect on the streets of Bogota, not Adelaide's eastern suburbs. Unbelievable. Hey, big shout out to Lan, who is one of the nicest ladies I know. She is the owner, sole operator of Goodwood Dry Cleaners, just there on Umling Road in Parkside. You remember a few weeks ago we did a Breaking at 8 about the extent to which the dry cleaning industry has been smashed, not so much by lockdowns, but by the fact that we've become a nation of slobs. So many people working from home and, keeping one shirt sitting there on the back of the study chair that they put on for a Zoom meeting, and then after that they go back to wearing their hoodie. With our photographer Roy, we got a lovely shot of Lan, and she's cracked the big time today, page 6 of the national broadsheet. But the most interesting part, and you just think, for everything bad related to COVID, you go to Victoria and you multiply it by 20. I spoke to a guy there called Nick Bancroft, who's the funniest bloke. After I spoke to him, he emailed me a picture of himself. He said, just so you know, nice to chat over the phone, just so you have a bit of a sense of who I am. He sent me a photo of himself jumping out of a large washing machine, wearing his suit, wearing like his business clothes, but coming out of this giant washer. But he owns a business in South Yarra, very la-di-da, on Toorak Road. He normally launders and irons, this is just one example, purely men's business shirts. He normally does 2,500 to 3,000 a week. He's now lucky to do 300. And he's got 13 staff. Last week he said to 6 of them, sorry guys, there's no point coming in tomorrow. And it's so interesting that this is an industry, it's not like aviation, it's not like the AHA, it's not like, tourism.
There's no big industry group.
No. Like when I didn't even know it existed. The Dry Cleaning Institute of Australia, that's their peak body. And this Nick bloke's the Victorian president. And they've just got one landline number. I rang it and this woman said, yeah, I'll get someone to ring you. And he said, this is the first time anyone's rung about our industry because we haven't got the big voice. And it's just these are the people that when you talk about the economy, the damage that's being done to the economy and this vacuous knee-jerk response you get from so-called progressives there's more to society than the economy. It's like, no. This is Lan and Nick we're talking about.
Yep.
These are the economy. They're people, and they're opening hours signs say it all, For a while last year, Lan was shutting at 3. She's now shutting at 4:30 instead of 5. The Victorian business used to be open 7 to 7 Monday to Saturday. Now it's open 8 till 5 instead. So the upshot of it all, folks, is if you've got something that needs dry cleaned, get it done.
Absolutely. All right, we're out of time. Leon Biner's coming up, and we will catch you tomorrow morning from 6.